We do things like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.
I can't hear you, Ant.
There you go. What's up? Mute.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. There we go. There we go. What up? What up? What up, everybody?
What's going on, man?
What's good?
Thanks again for joining us another week of a definitely dope segment, dope program here on Manifestation 2020. Definitely wanted to shout out everybody that gave us enormous feedback for the last couple of episodes. They really, really digged as we are growing. They are digging it more and more, and we appreciate the feedback. Trust me. it's not going unnoticed. With that being said, definitely want to give an ashe to my childhood friend. I know last time you guys know that I had lost a friend of mine that was a very dope community leader. Every time we always saw each other in the local spaces, the networking spaces, the building spaces, we always had a lot to chop up. And it was just fun times with him. Like I said, we both were unapologetic in our ways and our methods. And so every time we get around each other, we always use the crack jokes and smile and appreciate. I appreciated him for what he was doing and the powerful impactfulness that he was doing in the community. And as you guys know, that's Danny Agnew, that passed away a couple weeks ago. And then my childhood friend passed away yesterday morning when he went to work. Found out that he passed away later that day. And ironically, both of these guys passed away from a car accident. So my
Wow.
friend, a lot of people know Andrew. Andrew passed away on, he was the one, if you guys heard on Channel 7 News, that got hit by a tractor trailer on Davie, entering the turnpike. That was my childhood friend early in the morning on his way to work. Um, that's a huge loss. Uh, Growing up, we used to go to Bermudas. We used to go to iguanas,
You took it
Bermudas.
back to Bermuda.
Yeah, anywhere we were, like back in the days when we was really in our club hopping days, we always used to link up around our way in our hood, and they would come to our hood. We would link up, click up, and then we would drive out to our destination.
Yeah.
So every time he would come through, we would be waiting for everybody, and while we waiting, we just be cracking jokes, and we used to crack on each other. And Drew was he's a quiet dude, smart dude, but man, when I tell you he's a comedian, a lot of
Mm,
people don't see his comedic side, but he's funny as hell. When I tell you
mm.
he's funny, he's funny. And we used to go back and forth cracking jokes on each other, and it was just fun times, man. Great dude to be around. I know he leaves behind a daughter and a girlfriend, and it's so sad because he makes 150K a year. So he's a
Mm.
brother that's a high value man that makes
Wow.
a good salary, man. And it's like they always say the good die young. And then you had two brothers back to back that were young doing impeccable stuff, and just being a joyous beam of light in this world full of darkness. And so I'm just glad that I had the opportunity. We have over 5 billion people in this world. I had the opportunity to rub shoulders with both of these gentlemen during my lifetime. And I'm so honored to even know these two brothers. And I just wanted to pay homage to Drew like I paid homage to Daniel last week. So I say to both of my now guardian angels that I can rely on to help me and guide me while I'm still here on this physical earth. So yeah, I just wanted to
Agreed.
put that out there, man. So
R.I.P. R.I.P.
for
Wow.
sure, Ashe. So with that being said, we wanted to talk about this week's show, mental wellness, health, nutrition. I know Bobby Drake, this is one of the things that Bobby Drake wanted to talk about. So we definitely wanted to highlight it this week, and the importance of why Black men in particularly, um, why we need to take our health a little bit more serious. We need to do a little bit more. We need to be more fit for our queens, our children, and just for ourselves, because when you exercise, when you eat right, everything, you feel good, you normally perform well, you are in your best beam, you're in your highlighted moment. Feels like you're a super saiyan that just did 10,000 push-ups off Earth's course in the space, right? So
Yeah.
that's a little Vegeta, Goku kind of anime joke that might run by some of y'all heads, but you have a very you're more impactful when you're aligned right. on those basic necessities that you have to maintain throughout life. So we definitely wanted to highlight a lot of that tonight. So let's get right into it. I know I have a couple of things that I do want to highlight, and then I just want to turn it over to Drake and let him highlight some things that he might want to talk about. So the first thing I'm going to highlight is all right. So as you guys know, that there is common effects that affect men. So in our community, this is something that hits hard because we are in a food desert, so we have to pretty much rely on foods that aren't the highest quality in our sector. In doing so, we tend to get more heart attacks, more strokes, and diseases affecting the arteries are amongst the top 10 men health issues worldwide. These ailments are collectively known as cardiovascular diseases. In the US, about 697,000 people die of heart-related diseases, and over half are men. So that tells you a lot. We are, as men, we're workhorses as well. So it's very important that in order for the machine, and I say machine and I use that lightly, but as we operate like machines, you got to make sure that the machine is well ran and is maintained. And that's what you're doing when you do your fitness and your health. You are maintaining yourself on a level like that. Um, Also, the health issues with the heart disease affecting nearly 1 out of every 15 men in the United States. Various forms of heart diseases are responsible for a quarter of all male deaths. It's very important. The heart is the center function of the functionality of our lives. Everything in our organs and how we function uh, operates off of our heart. Our heart stops, everything stops, right? So second comes stroke. Third is depression and suicide. We talked about that numerous times on this platform, where men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide than on any other race or gender, especially Black men. Um, we also talk about lung cancer and prostate cancer. Prostate cancer is a very hot topic when it comes to men, especially Black men in our community. We get to a certain age, which is, I believe, 45 and up. You should be getting your prostate cancer checked. Um, and go to your local doctor. You guys have your primary physician, and get that checked up, every once a year. Just do the routine checkup just to make sure that if anything is found, at least you be on top of it and get to eliminate it at its earlier stages than wait to cancer. Cancer, when you wait till it get to a stage 4, the chances of you surviving that can be very slim. So it's better to attack it at its earliest points than attack it at its later moments. So definitely want to highlight that. That's very important for us. And men, during the 40s and 50s, men bodies produce testosterone at declining rates. They begin to lose muscle mass and become more prone to weight gain. Their risk of heart disease, blood pressure, and diabetes increases. So it's very important, if you're in that bracket, to go ahead and start to reevaluate the way you're eating, the way you're doing things. Do I need to exercise more? Um, you'd have to do a whole summary of evaluation and do an honest evaluation, and also do one with your trainer, and also do one with your physician. Those are the 2 main people that you guys need to be more vocal with, is your trainer and your physician. Check your physician first and then go and select your trainer second. But those are the 2 people that you're going to have to maintain a good rep with, because your trainer is also going to provide a nutritional diet along with your exercise routine. Uh, Other diseases are Alport syndrome, male pattern baldness. As you guys know, a lot of women always complain about you guys wearing hats. As you can see, I'm wearing a hat, and I can take my hat off and I'm not fishing because there is hair under my head and I'm not receding or balding. We talked about the prostate cancer from earlier, and the sex uh, deterioration from that part of it, the SRY. Uh, when we talk about sexual potency, being able to be sexually active. I know there's a running joke with women that comes with taking gas station pills or honey packets or, all these little things that will help you temporarily boost your erectile function and get you in the mood or in the process to handle your business. So a lot of times we drink a lot of liquor, which can also decrease sexual potency. So as we get older, we want to cut back on a lot of that liquor that helps the decline of the sexual potency in in our cycle. So it's very important for you guys to understand your body, learn your body, and know how to keep your body running with high mileage. We like to talk about women with high mileage, but your body with high mileage, it runs down, and you want to make sure you're still in competition. You got to make sure your body is maintained enough for you to still run in competition with these young boys out here. So make sure you're doing what you need to do. All right. Muscle mass decreases approximately 3 to 8% per decade after the age of 30. At this rate of decline is even higher after the age of 60. This involuntary loss of muscle mass, strength, and function is a fundamental cause or contributor to disability in older people, meaning that if we don't maintain a regimen of exercise and eating and having a consistent weight, when you are not doing that, your body will deteriorate. And then when you get older, your bones get brittle. You're not as able to move around like you were before, and your body ends up being run down. It's kind of like you have a car. No matter how new your car is, if you let your car sit in the driveway for a whole year, you don't start it up, you don't move it, you don't do anything, you'll start to see that car starts to rust. The parts in the car is not going to be on point, and it's not going to run the same as if you started it every day. And also, your battery might die, so you might have to get a new battery or jump start the battery you have in there. So just keep that in mind as well. All right. Make sure that you see a doctor. If a person is having trouble getting or maintaining erection, they should speak to a doctor. Eat a nutritious diet, more or less, more on the lines of an alkaline diet. Shout out, I say. We talked about I say to our ancestors, but also to Dr. Sabi, who kept us on a very alkaline-based diet and showed us at the age of 80 that he was able to jump up off his knees and also have a very high sex drive at the age of 80. And he was able to do that through a nutritious diet. So it's very important when it comes to nutritious diet. Um, 3, get regular exercise. 4, communicate with sexual partners. You want to be you want to have a great communication with your sexual partner because there are things that you can do that can arouse you naturally with your sexual partner. So learn each other, learn those things that get you up, that get you aroused, so you don't have to run to the store and get any honey pack or use anything that's unnatural to get yourself up. Because when you start using a lot of things that's unnatural, then your body relies on it, and then it ends up it ends up being immune to it, and then it doesn't work for you anymore like it's supposed to. So you don't want to run and get the honey patch. You don't want to be on a subscription of Viagra. You want to try to do things the natural way and maintain it in that order. Explore new things. That can also uh, heighten your horizons and expand your mind. Once you get your mind clicking, it gets you in new directions. Like I said earlier, limit the alcohol intake because alcohol tears down your liver. As you know, the function of your liver. If you don't know, then go ahead and Google and research it. But your liver is very important, and the alcohol will take that out. Your liver is basically one of your access points of helping your whole body function at a high velocity. So that's why it's very important to take care of your liver and make sure, and by doing that, is limiting your alcohol intake. Sleep well. As you guys know, the more rest your body gets, the more it gets to repair itself. The more you are not resting, the least chances your body gets to repair itself. Um, Eight, reduce stress. Very important. Stress is also one of the number one killers out there. Once you accumulate a lot of stress, a lot of other things start to fall apart. And stress also, when that happens, your mind in itself is not functioning on the normal level because your mind is now worried about things that it should not be focused on at that moment. So make sure that we're keeping our stress level down. And remember, stress also heightens your heart rate. So you don't want your heart rate to be pounding through stress, because then when your heart pounds faster, it works a lot harder. And when you work a lot harder, you're overworking your heart, and that also can cause issues as well. So the last thing I want to show is a lot of times a lot of men don't understand that they do have a disorder. One of the disorders is BED, which is the binge eating disorder. And the most common eating disorder diagnosis found in males. This disorder involves individuals engaging in binging behaviors, as one might with bulimia nervosa. However, those struggling with the bed do not engage in compensatory behaviors after binging. So it's very important that you watch yourself, because when you over exert yourself and you're binging might be coming in through depression. Like I said, with stress and depression can go hand in hand. So you got to be very careful about this disorder that a lot of people do engage in. So it's very unhealthy. And if you catch yourself in it, just make sure that you know what you need to do to conquer it. And if you can't conquer it by yourself, like I say, always resort back to your physician, and they can help you find alternate ways to go ahead and conquer that. So with that being said, I just highlighted a couple of few points, and I would definitely turn it back over to Bobby Drake. And Bobby Drake, you can go into it in more details of our topic tonight, and let us know the importance of why we need to talk more about this.
Absolutely. So that was a lot of great game that you put out there, that you kicked out there for people to chew on. Um, Long story short, I mean, health is everything.
Mhm.
Your health, literally, when people talk about health being wealth, that's not just some sort of little catchy phrase or some sort of cliche type statement. Health literally is the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Yeah,
If your health isn't on track, if your wellness isn't together, it's going to dramatically cut into every and anything else that you do in life.
yeah,
People oftentimes, make a big deal about how long people lived. Oh, I have a grandparent, they're 86 years old, or my grandmother is 91 years old, or I have a centenarian, a 100-year-old person in my family. And, being able to live a long life and be there with your family and your friends and your loved ones, and to be able to see the world change and everything, that's great. That's awesome. And that's definitely something that we should aspire towards. But the more important thing to do is to make sure that the quality of life
Mm.
is on point and together. Um, I don't know about anybody else out there, but we seem to kind of have mixed feelings or emotions about this. I actually had an interesting conversation with some of my people a couple weeks ago, and I don't know how we got there. It was just one of those random discussions where we just were jumping into different things out of nowhere, just not even keeping track of the conversation. And the question was asked: would you rather, if you were in in a terrible accident or something happened to you, would you rather live as a paraplegic? I don't want to use the term. Well, if a paraplegic, in other words, you're paralyzed from the neck down,
Mm.
Think of Stephen Hawking,
Yeah.
for example, or Christopher Reeves. Would you rather live like that, or would you rather have your loved ones pull the plug on you? I
Mm.
said that I would probably want to still be alive, even though I know it would be difficult for me because I believe as long as you're alive, with all the innovations and stuff in health and medicine, you never know there could be a cure or something around the corner. And even if I'm not able to move or have a full quality of life, especially if I have children and everything, I'm still able to be there for them. I can still serve as a repository for wisdom, for knowledge.
Mm.
And especially if you lived a good life, if you have family members that you're close with, they love you, they care about you.
Mm.
Even to some extent, if it is a burden taking care of you, a lot of times, so long as people aren't in really dire straits, a lot of people would rather make those sacrifices and chip in and really work and labor to take care of you if you've really been that kind of relative where they really want you to be around. And for those people, it might be hard for them to see you, in that condition. But I'm sure it'd be a whole lot more painful to not have you around anymore. They don't have the comfort of your voice, your stories, you cracking jokes, and just being that source of encouragement and motivation for them.
Mm.
And while my viewpoint was respected, there's about several of us talking. Pretty much everybody else was like, "Nah, if I was in that state, pull the plug on me. I don't want to live like that."
Yeah.
So in that case, they were stressing the importance of quality of life over quantity of life.
Yeah.
If I can't have a full active life, if I can't move, run around, jump around, if I can't go places on my own, if I don't have to be a burden on other people, I have to rely on others for pretty much every single thing to wipe my own ass, all the other stuff, I don't want to be
Mm.
here.
Mm.
And I can
Mm.
understand that, and it makes sense. There's nothing wrong with either viewpoint. Both have a whole lot of weight to it. And I'd imagine most people would rather say, you know what, if that's me, pull the plug. I've had a good run. That's it.
Mm.
We say that when it's something as drastic as being bedridden, you got to chew on a tube or something to talk or communicate, or you can't breathe on your own. But so
Mm.
many of us have absolute terrible practices for optimizing our life and quality of life.
Yeah.
Um, the biggest killer of people, the biggest killer of people is obesity. If you
Mm.
look at the rates, and I don't have the exact figures to give you, but it's a very easy Google search. If you were to look right now at the top 10 causes of death worldwide, and you can break it down by country too. You can look at for the United States. You can also look at it worldwide.
Mm.
Consistently, you will see that at least half of the list is all eating related.
Mm.
Obesity, all different things, heart attacks, strokes, those kind of things.
Uh-huh.
Half of the list is going to be things that are easily fixed by proper eating and exercise, and most of those are going to be in the top five.
Correct.
The number one killer is cardiovascular disease. So just some figures that I looked at, specifically where we're concerned, because as you know, due to living in a system of systematic racism, white supremacy, when other
Exactly.
people catch a cold, we catch pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
This is compiled from a number of different sources. Non-Hispanic blacks have the highest prevalence of obesity at 49.6%, followed by Hispanics at 44.8%, and non-Hispanic whites at 42.2%.
Mm.
African American women have the highest rates of obesity among any demographics group, with approximately 4 out of 5 black women having overweight status or obesity.
Mm.
Black women are twice as likely to be severely obese with a BMI body mass index of at least 40 at a rate of 16% as almost every other group. Overall rates of obesity, which is typically considered a BMI of 30 and up, are highest among black women at 57%, followed by Hispanic women at 49%. Obesity is related to a wide range of chronic health conditions, especially diabetes, and people defined as obese are more likely to rate their own health as poor. So, in most cases, you don't even have to go to the doctor. You can tell just based on your day to day living that you're not in good shape. Taking too many steps is a chore. Going up a flight of steps, forget about it. You have to pause in some cases. And I've seen this with my own eyes with some people as well too. They can't even take not even a couple of flights of stairs. Just going from the first to the second floor is a chore. They got to pause somewhere along the way to catch their breath. Um, they can't. They have to make sure they park close to buildings and entrances. They can't walk too far. It's a real task. Even if they're able to make it without breathing too heavy, usually they're sweating. I think we've all seen. Not trying to be funny, disrespectful, but we've all seen. I think usually a really large dude carries a towel with him because everywhere he goes, he's just sweating because basic movements are that big of an exertion for them.
Yeah.
Um, Over one third of adults over age 60 are living with obesity, with older black women coming in at the highest rates. And that's very particular because a lot of times we take what we consider good genes or a good setup, and instead of maximizing those things, we abuse them because we think when we're young, we're gonna live forever. I'm bulletproof. I got forever. I'm only 20 something. I'm only 30 something. I got till I'm 50, 60, 70 to get it together. But that's not the way we work. Our bodies are very forgiving and very generous with us. They give us a lot of grace. We can eat like garbage, drink like crap, go nights and nights without proper sleep. And I think everyone's had a story about, cramming all night during college for exams, going into class the next day with 2 hours of sleep and passing exams, or in some cases, you're out clubbing all night and you go straight to work or you go straight to school, doesn't even phase you. We all have those stories. We all know people who have those stories. And it's
Mhm.
cool when you're young,
Yeah.
but please believe your body takes very diligent notes. And everything that you have done in your youth, as you get older, you're going to have to start paying the piper for it. I've seen a lot of people who were skinny that very, they had what you call the mesomorphic builds, which typically is defined as like a person that's very small, have high metabolisms, they don't gain weight easily at all. They brag about, oh, I can eat garbage, I can eat like junk or what have you, and it doesn't come on me. Soon as they pass dirty 30s
mm.
and that metabolism starts naturally slowing down, all of a sudden they blow up like that chick from the Willy Wonka movie, that girl that ate the blueberry candy.
The
She would
blueberry.
just chew when she put
Yeah.
everything in her mouth. Willie said, "Hey, don't be touching everything that's up in here." Went
Hmm.
ahead, popped that can. Next, no, boom, turned the whole blueberry floating. And it really
Yep.
happens that way. And a lot of people, and they'll talk about, I used to do this all the time. Um, Way back in the day, I can remember there was, I think, a World Star interview with the porn star Pinky. And Pinky, for
Whoa,
those who have never
whoa,
seen those
Yeah.
things, that aren't, y'all already know
whoa,
what I'm talking about.
whoa.
Um, and
Mm.
back in I remember seeing the world. This was way back when YouTube was the spot, whatever. And there was a video that I saw on there, and they were talking to her about her career and everything. And they talked about her body because back then, Pinky was considered one of the hottest chicks in the game.
Yeah.
She
She
was
was the
bad,
top.
built properly.
She was, yeah,
And
she was
I
the top.
remember, I don't know why this stuck with me all these years, but I remember her bragging about, oh, she got her body from McDonald's. She
Yeah.
basically ate fast food. That's where she got her body from. And she bragged about that, and sure enough, the way she
Oh,
looked, very
oh,
traditional. That was her thing.
Yeah.
You
She got
seen
real.
Pinky the last several years.
oh.
The joke is, and again, no shit. I'm just saying, the joke is Pinky went from Pinky to Big Toe,
Yeah.
and she really has. She's put on a lot of weight. Funny enough, I saw a video of her recently, and apparently she's trying to get big in her fitness thing. Despite her size, and she's working on now trying to get down, and she does like a little fit camp things. I think she actually does camps where she invites people to work out with her and everything. So she's real serious about her fitness grind now, trying to undo the damage. But Pinky was Pinky was good to go from jump.
Yeah.
And if she would have just taken advantage of what she had then and just worked to maintain that, instead of trying to sweat all them pounds and all the fat off now, she'd be coasting. She'd be straight now. It's a lot easier to maintain an advantage than it is to get it back later on. I mean, that's everything. That's sports. You got a
Mm-hmm.
20-point lead. It's a lot easier to keep the 20 points and maybe lose 5 or 6 points here and there. But you coasting for the most part, rather than being down 20 points and you had to kill yourself trying to get back up there. In some cases, some people will never be able to undo the damage that's done. There comes a point where you can do too much, and the
Mm.
work that will go into getting that handled, it becomes overbearing. But that's for adults for the most part. But the issue is, unfortunately, these crimes we commit to ourselves, they don't just stay with us. Sometimes our other family members are get caught in the line of fire as well too. So one of the big
Mm.
issues that's really popped up and it's become a global issue now. I know the World Health Organization has been really big on this, but unfortunately, as the obesity rates among adults have crept up, the obesity rates among children have gone up as well too. So childhood obesity rates in the U.S. currently range from 12.7% among 2 to 5 year olds to 22.2% among 12 to 19-year-olds.
Damn.
So in other words, you're talking about virtually 1 out of every 5 children is going to be obese, which is big because that means you're talking about juvenile diabetes. You know, we have the type 1. I'm always getting the two mixed up. You have, I believe, the type 1 diabetes that you're born with this genetic condition, you're predisposed to it, you can't do anything about it. But unfortunately, you also have type 2 diabetes that is literally created by people not doing what they're supposed to be doing, not eating properly, not staying in shape, and now your body has developed this issue to compensate or as a result of the damage that you've been doing to it. And a lot of children are developing that type 2 juvenile diabetes now because of the poor eating practices and fitness practices in the household. You
Mm,
know,
Hmm.
whatever's being cooked in the house or not being cooked in the house, if the kids are getting McDonald's Happy Meals, Burger King Happy Meals, Checkers meals, Wendy's, uh, Taco Bell, whatever else you could think of. If this is what they're getting after school, they're taking it to school for breakfast in some cases. I know some kids would used to, if they were lucky, they get McDonald's breakfast and used to go in the cafeteria eating, and all the kids are, oh man, I want some pancakes. Oh, let me get some of that. That was the thing. No, you had
mm,
McDonald's breakfast. You're doing real big, but all this junk that's being put in our bodies, the fatty stuff, the GMO organisms that aren't even broken down properly, it's taking a toll on our children. Now, I remember years ago in the classroom, I had a third grader. Uh, he had some other issues that I think probably good eating habits would have probably helped take care of as well, because your diet can also affect your mood. But he was otherwise a nice little jolly guy. But this is a third grader, mind you,
mm.
and I kid you not, I was a size 34, 36 waist at the time. The child literally had a waistline bigger than mine.
Hmm.
This third grader had a waist bigger than mine, easily
Wow.
40, easily
Wow.
size 40. I'm
Wow.
I'm not I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not exaggerating. The child was huge.
Hmm.
Wow.
He really looked he really looked like a ball. And again, I'm not saying that to be demeaning of him, but that's just how terrible it was. Now, there are some cases where you do have some diseases that cause obesity or cause where you gain weight very easily. Most people are not suffering from that.
Mm,
We live in an era now where a lot of work is being done on computers or behind screens. So there's not much need to move around and stuff. People are sitting all the time watching television, playing video games, they have their phones in front of them. They're not active like they used to be. And it's so easy to call Grubhub or DoorDash to order food brought
Hmm.
to you. There's not a lot of reason to move. Truth be told, in many ways, you could actually literally live inside your house nonstop and not take any L's. Everything can be done for you. You can bank online. You don't have to go to the bank anymore. You can get groceries delivered. You can get food ordered to you. You can work from home. Uh, you know, there's a lot of reasons that we have now where you don't have to leave the house unless you really want to. And
mm,
unfortunately, a lot of people are going along with that, and it's causing problems. We shouldn't have issues where we're battling obesity rates in our children, and really they're not able to get a fighting chance in life. They're entering adulthood, they're making it that far, and already they're facing a shortened lifespan. They have to worry about cancers that are popping up, and that's another thing that's getting big now. Childhood cancer is on the rise and on the increase, where it didn't used to be as much. And if you look in older photo albums, if you look at pictures from like Time magazine, People, Jet magazine, and look at people back then, especially black people back in the days, you see that you didn't see a whole bunch of obese fat people like that. You
mm,
had them here and there. It's not like they didn't exist, but they were part and parcel. You took a random picture anywhere, you were more likely to see people that even if they weren't super fit, they weren't about to go and do like a Bally Total Fitness DVD or something, but they were in good shape. Nowadays, you do that. Most people you're going to see are going to be lumpy here. They're going to have the auntie and uncle arms there. They're going to have the large calf muscle, the swollen ankles. They're going to have the puffy necks, the double chins, the triple chins, the jowls, and everything. And that's not the way we're supposed to be. We don't operate at our best like that. Um,
mm,
so the question then becomes, all right, well, what do we do about it? How do we fix these issues? First and foremost, You need to get up off your ass. You need to exercise. You can't get away from it. It has to be done. Your body needs positive stress. So we definitely accumulate a lot of negative stress in our lives, but you have to find ways to get some positive stress because we are not designed to exist in a state of pure comfort. Comfort kills.
Yeah.
It's important that you push yourself. Um, they even show in all respects when you're an older, they say that one of the things that can help you fight off dementia, fight off Alzheimer's, keep yourself fresh and sharp is doing things to challenge yourself mentally. So trying to learn languages, solving puzzles, whether it's physical puzzles, crosswords, what have you, doing things to keep your mind sharp will allow you to be able to use your brain better when you're older. The old saying goes, if you don't use it, then you're going to lose it.
True.
That's true across the board. It's currently recommended, and I know some people are trying to dumb it down to kind of make it easier for people, but we don't need things to be easier. That's how we've got here now.
Yeah.
It is recommended by a number of health associations, the ACSM being the most prevalent, that the human body requires 150 minutes of exercise a week.
Mm.
That's just barely over 2 hours, a little under 3 hours a week. It's recommended that you do it or train at least anywhere from 2 to 3 days per week, and you can, of course, stretch it out longer. So you don't have 2 hours to dedicate. You don't have an hour for 2 days out of the week to dedicate. Fine, break it down to half-hour size bits. But you need to get out there and do something. You can swim. Swimming is one of the best exercises on the planet. Whole body exercise. Swim some dedicated laps. Jump rope, some of the best cardiovascular exercise that's out there. There's a reason why you see all kinds of MMA fighters and boxers doing the jump roping, the skipping, jogging, running. If you live someplace that has some nice trails, there's nice outdoor stuff to look at, or hell, jog around your city block. Go jog
Mm.
down the street. I love when I'm driving to and from work at different places and I'm seeing in the morning or in the evening, I'm seeing couples, or I'm seeing sisters jogging or doing their walking, or I'm seeing brothers moving. They have their families, they have the little carts they're pushing, they're walking the dogs. But get
Mm.
off your ass and do something. I said a long time ago that there's three hobbies that every man should have. You need a hobby that's going to allow you to be creative. You need a hobby that's going to make you money. And you need to find a hobby that's going to help you keep in shape.
Mm.
So, moment of transparency. My hobby that keeps me in shape, and the funny thing is, it's also pushed me to be active overall. But the hobby that keeps me in shape is jujitsu. When I was a
Mm.
kid, coming up, I did a little bit of kung fu, a little bit of taekwondo when I was younger. But I
Mhm.
was a very hyper kid, and I wasn't good at sticking with things. So I would start things and I would stop. And I stuck with martial arts for a little bit longer than most things, but they got to a point where I kind of got bored, what have you, and I got into other things. So once I stopped participating. But it didn't take long for me to miss it or want to get back into it, but it was never convenient for me to do so. So
Mm.
I always said, even as a child, when I get the opportunity, I'm going to get back into martial arts somehow, some kind of way. So decades later, I'm an adult now. I had actually started shopping around, got a good job that pays me excellent. I have time on my schedule where I can fill some things in. This is a good time to get back into martial arts. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. Unfortunately, the pandemic came along and hit. This was real rough for me because I thought I found what I wanted to do up until that point, and then everything got shut down. Things changed up. Even before going to the pandemic, the life that I was living was very hectic. I had no time on my schedule. Everything was work, school, sleep. I also decided that I need to transition because the job I was working at the time was very stressful. So basically, I went from when I was younger, I was a 4 to 5 day a week gym rat. I would spend at least an hour or two in the gym consistently for years.
Mm.
I went to being inactive really for a period of 3 years where I literally did not have the time to get to the gym. And so, because of the good habits that I had built up, it took a while. But again, like I said, your body takes notes, keeps up with you. So I went from being consistently 220 pounds at 6 feet tall
Mhm.
to gradually building up. And at my
Mhm.
highest weight, I was 260 pounds.
Yeah.
So I was stacking weight. I never knew what that was until long. So I knew I had to get in shape. I hated being that way. I hated being fat. I knew I was fat. And I'm like, you know what? I'm here now. As soon as I get the chance, I'm going to fix it. Once
Mhm.
the pandemic cleared up, a new gym popped up near me. I saw that one of the things they had there was they offered jujitsu classes, and for me that was
Mhm.
a sign. I went ahead, got active, got involved. First week or two, it kicked my ass.
Mm.
I'd never felt so out of shape in my life. It was very humbling,
Yeah.
and I got to see exactly where I was. I couldn't make it 15 minutes of the class. The warm ups were killing me, so I
Mm.
was out of breath. I was sogging, but I stuck with it. I didn't give up. I said, "It's this way now. It's not going to be this way." Kept at it. Kept at it. Started getting easier. Forced me to take my eating more serious. So then I decided I had to eat better if I want to get better results. One of the biggest things I learned early was that your water intake is everything. So I
Yes.
realized a good third of the reason, at least, why I was getting so winded, I didn't have much endurance, was because I was severely dehydrated. So
Yes.
I got me a nice little water bottle. It was about a half gallon, and made it a point to start drinking that. The minute I consistently started getting dazed with my water, I automatically doubled my output of what I could do. It
Mm.
was crazy. It was
Yeah.
night overnight change.
And I
And
want to
so,
I want to drop this gem right in there about the water. So a lot of people don't know. Um, if you can, always keep a bottle of water by your bedside. It doesn't have to be um, refrigerated, room temperature. I keep a bottle by my bedside. Why do I do that?
absolutely
Because there is benefits to drinking water. All right. So one of the benefits of drinking water is when you drink water before you take a shower, it actually lowers your rate. It keeps your heart rate at a
correct.
lower um, stability. It stabilizes your heart at a lower rate, so it's not racing and pounding. It calms you before you go in. Also, when you drink water before you go to bed, it also flushes out the toxin. It helps flush out the toxin while you're sleeping because people don't understand at night while you're sleeping, that's when your body works. This is why they always talk about the importance of sleeping. The importance of
Mhm.
sleeping is not for you to shut your eyes, it's for your body to go to work and do the necessity job of cleaning out your body
Mhm.
while you're sleeping. So that way, when you wake up, it's basically refreshing to you because your body has now did all what it needs to do to clear you out and get you ready for the next day. So it's very important that you drink water before you go to bed to help those toxins because you've been eating all day to help flush it out. So that way, when you wake up and you have your morning, you got to use the number one in the morning, you're flushing all of that stuff out that your body pretty much had worked out through the night. So that's why your morning pee is always a vital pee. Even I think when you talk about pregnancy and stuff like that, they always say, your best results of knowing what's going on with your body is your pee early in the morning. That's one of the reasons behind it. So I
Absolutely.
just wanted to put that in there when it comes to drinking water. Those are the benefits that you can get when you're drinking water before you go to bed and before you head into the shower. So go ahead. My bad, Bob.
Absolutely. No, no, spot on. Matter of fact, like you said, you need water in your system because it is possible to sleep dehydrated. Just drinking water throughout the day is enough. You need to make sure that you need to drink at least a glass of water, 8 ounces, before you go to bed, because you need to have some water in your system. Now, you're not as active sleeping as you are during the daytime, of course, but like
Mhm.
Ann said, your body is still doing a lot of work on a cellular level. So it's repairing and undoing basically all the bullshit that you put yourself through during the waking hours. It's fixing all that. It's removing all kinds of dead particles. You shed skin when you sleep, so you're getting that turnover to allow yourself to get new skin cells. Um, the damage that's being racked up from exercise or from stress, all that's being sorted out, and you need water in there to kind of help make all that stuff go. But it's also important when you wake up in the morning, like you said, to also drink water because you need to wake up your organs. So basically, in other words, you're fueling yourself. You're giving your body a chance to wake up and to get itself together. Have you ever seen like what is it? If you were a child and you had like those little dehydrated dino capsules in the grocery store, or whatever. get these little pills, and it's amazing. You just add water, you sprinkle water on it, and all of a sudden these small little vitamin-looking pills, they just start popping up as this little styrofoam dinosaur or whatever pops up.
Yeah.
Same concept for your organs. You've
Mm,
got going 6, 7, 8, 9 hours, however long you sleep, without any movement, without any food, without any sort of water entering your system. Now, your body is in a somewhat shriveled, shrunken state from not being used. You add some water in there, mix it up in there to get your organs popping back to life. You can get your heart resaturated, get your organs saturated. So you need
mm,
to do all that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, find something that gets you active, and you'll be surprised. It's very easy to become, once it becomes a habit, to become addicted in a positive way to exercise. Some people are doing different things. You might just be content with taking it right there and just going getting your little few hours in throughout the week at the gym, and that does it for you. Maybe you want to get involved in a boot camp on the beach or at a park somewhere with some friends. Maybe you want to use sports to do it. I've been
Mm,
doing jujitsu for about a year and a half now. This time a year ago, I was still about 260, 255 pounds.
mm.
I weigh in at 228 pounds right now. Um, not back to where I was in my appreciate it. I'm not back to where I was in my heyday, but that's cool because I'm looking to surpass that now in a different way.
That's a big
So I'm
deal.
well on track. And that same little fat bastard that couldn't keep up 15 minutes in a jujitsu class is now
Yeah,
competing,
I see you.
winning, and racking up stuff.
I
Just had
see
one
you,
this
dog.
past weekend. So, you know, I'm out here, I'm living it. And again, I feel amazing again. I
Mm,
originally
Yeah.
started working out heavy in the first place because I was dealing with depression at the time. Young
mm,
broke college student. I can't afford therapy sessions. So literally,
mm.
literally, and I say this and I mean this. It's not a metaphor. The gym literally saved my life. Literally saved my life. Exercise literally saved my life. I might not have been
Wow.
here
Mm,
today if I didn't start working out back then. That's
Wow.
how powerful it is.
That's heavy.
When I couldn't
Heavy.
work out, when I couldn't exercise anymore, I definitely felt it. I felt drained. I didn't have as much energy, wasn't sleeping as well. And I definitely felt like I was missing a part of me because, 4 to 5 days a week for like 6, 7 years, that's a lot of commitment. That's a big part of
yeah.
you to just drop off like that. So getting back into it now, I feel better than ever. I'm more motivated than ever, and I'm looking to take myself now in my 30s to heights and places that I didn't see when I was in my 20s. So I'm looking to be the best version of myself for me, for my family, my loved ones. I'm looking to be one of those 60-year-olds that puts the 20-year-olds to shame.
Mm,
There
And
you
I
go.
definitely want to set that precedent for my family. I want to be that example for my children as well. I'm looking forward to at least, you know, God bearing any unforeseen incidents. I'm looking to be one of these old heads that isn't a burden on my children, where they don't have to be worrying about keeping up with different medications for me in and out of the hospital. I'm looking to be prime optimal shape. All you gotta do is drop my grandkids off and go do what you're doing. We be good over here. And I think that's a huge blessing to be able to give to your family. It's an amazing thing when you're able to be in good shape and you're 70 and 80, and your kids don't really got to worry about you too much like that.
mm,
Anyone who has sick older relatives, if you have a mother or father that's always in and out the hospital for different ailments, this and that, you know, you love your relatives, so you do what you got to do for them. No question about it.
Mm,
But you definitely love it if you knew that you didn't have to be as, forget the money. Just you don't have to be worried about them wondering, okay, is this the big one or is it going to be this time? That's a
yeah.
huge gift that you can give to your loved ones.
I
But we don't
agree.
think about that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't think about that. In some cases, that can even affect your choice of mate selection. I had a friend who not long ago was seriously considering going into a marriage with somebody. That she was with a pretty good dude. He was pretty nice and thorough, but a big concern she had was, we're young now, and his
Mm,
mother's always in and out of the hospital. If we get married, is this going to be something that we have to now take on?
Mm.
So again, when we talk about vetting spouses, these are real grown up things that we're talking about now.
That's grown. That's grown up shit. Real talk.
So health might seem on the surface like a personal thing, But like a lot of other things, it has a lot of far-reaching implications that sometimes we don't even see in the moment, but we will definitely feel down the line.
Mhm.
So that should be a number one concern of us ourselves. One of the things that you hear a lot when we talk about things that hurt us and kill us, we talk about homicide rates. People like to talk about crime rates. Um, a lot of gender wars you hear talking about. Oh, uh, men are killing us from some women and such. Just to give you some context, at present in 2021, there were over 11,696 offenders of murderers in the U.S. who were male compared to 1,690 who were female. The overall risk of homicide for women was substantially lower than that of men, but their risk of
Mm.
being killed by a spouse or intimate acquaintance was higher. In contrast
Mm.
to men, the killing of a woman by a stranger was rare. Overall, you had roughly 600,000 cases of homicide. I think that might not entirely be on the level, but they're rating that it was roughly 600,000 people who were the victims of homicide the past year. Now, when you look at the rates of death by cardiovascular disease,
Mhm.
according to the data, cardiovascular disease globally takes out roughly 18 million lives.
Mm.
Mm. Damn.
18 million lives. Now, this is globally, but in the US, the rates are somewhat higher than other places. And a lot of that is due not just to our lack of exercise, but our poor eating as well here. It's the
Mhm.
lack of food it's lack of good quality food that we eat, as well as the strange way that we go about eating. But, um, there's so many different levels that you can get into with this. But ultimately, the bottom line is make better choices with your eating, cook home when you can. If you're going to eat out, try to not get fast food. The way prices are nowadays, the average price of a combo at a Burger King or some other place is about what
Mm-hmm.
you would spend at a slightly best restaurant like an Applebee's or Fridays or something where you can get some actual veggies and salads and stuff.
See.
So if you need to go out, don't go to some fast food spot. Go to an actual sit down place. Go use your Grubhub or a DoorDash, whatever. Order for pickup. Go get your food. Eat that. Make sure you have vegetables with your food. At least 2 to 3 servings.
Mhm.
Um, Practice some discipline with your eating as well too. You shouldn't leave the table, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You shouldn't leave a table feeling stuffed. That's
Mhm.
another thing.
Mm.
When you stuff, that means you ate too much. You only need to
Yes.
have about a fist-sized portion of protein, whether it's chicken, beef, or whatever's eaten. You need that much, and about a handful size of vegetables, whatever else, and some small complex carbs. That's it. Too often we eat to feel full. You also don't necessarily need to eat 3 square meals a day. Truth be told, you need to learn how to eat to live. You can get away with
Mhm.
eating only when you're hungry, but making sure that you're well hydrated in between because sometimes your body will tell you that you're not hungry, you're thirsty, or it'll tell you that you're hungry because you're dehydrated. Drinking more water
Correct.
on a regular basis will keep your body more honest with yourself. But you need
Correct.
to eat properly, and you need to exercise, and you need to get your sleep. You do that,
Definitely.
it's going to make all the difference in your life. You're going to be a happier person, literally. Your body will feel better. You'll sleep better. You'll have more energy. You won't be as tired. You'll also find that you're going to have better outcomes at work. You're going to be able to think better. When you when you're healthy, your mind moves better. If you look at what most of the successful people out there, the millionaires and billionaires, if you look in their routine, you're going to find that they eat well, they get good sleep, regardless of when they wake up, and they meditate or they do something to keep stress out of their system. You do those
Mhm.
things, and you're going to have a tremendous turnaround. You're also going to live a life that your family and loved ones will thank you for as well.
Correct.
Wow.
That's what's
Wow.
up.
First of all, before I even go into what I'm going to say, what he said. That's all I want to say. What he said. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, that was everything. Very complete and detailed information there. Great game.
Yeah.
Um, I just like to emphasize, certain parts of what Bobby said, and just kind of elaborate a little more real quickly. Um, you know, the thing that jumped out at me most about what you said, and actually what I was talking to my wife just yesterday about, um, you know, is the fact that a lot of these things that we're getting sick from and having a poor quality of life in our older years from are things that are entirely preventable and under our control.
That's
I'm
the
going to say
tragedy.
that again. Okay, because this that it just makes my head explode. These things are entirely preventable and under our control. You
Mm,
understand what I'm saying? Simply because people just don't have any damn discipline. You know what I'm saying? That's the long and short of it. You know what I
mm,
mean? And I've had to get on people that I care about and that are close to me about this very thing. And look, I've been that person myself. But the difference with me is when I see that there is a problem and I know that there is an imminent threat, something that will affect my life now, something that will affect my life down the road. Like you said, you don't want to be a burden to your children and you don't want to, whatever the case may be. I think about that stuff. I don't want to be a burden to my wife. You know
mm,
what I mean? I want to be healthy. I want to be strong for her. I want to be here for my family. And all of this type of stuff and this prevention comes from simple, everyday discipline.
mm,
Can you say, I'm going to do this thing and do it? That's what it is at the end of the day. Or not do it. If you're not supposed to eat a certain type of food, don't damn eat it. If
mm,
you know that you need to exercise, make a way and exercise. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? Because again, it's entirely preventable. It's entirely controllable. And a lot of us out there right now are watching this, eating a goddamn honey bun, and you don't have no business doing it.
mm,
We have to be serious of this goes back to the whole conversation, the broader conversation about our people, unfortunately, being perpetual teenagers or wanting to be perpetual teenagers. You know what I mean? Like we're just not serious about a good many of things. You
mm,
know what I mean? And this,
Real.
unfortunately, is one of those things. This is at the top of the list.
mm,
Health and nutrition, exercising, dieting, black people as a group. I love my people. That's why I'm getting on your ass. Black people as a group, we are not serious about this.
mm,
And that's why we continue to lead in every statistical category regarding what's bad when you start talking about health. That's why, as Bobby pointed out, there's some people who are born with certain ailments or whatever the case that cause them to be obese. But the overwhelming majority of us just can't put down the damn Twinkies. That's just what it is. How we explain that? That's on us. And like you also said, there's no way you can be your best self when you're in a constant state of discomfort. And that's on all levels because it affects the way you look, which is going to affect the way that you feel, which is going to affect the way that you think. You understand what I'm saying? Which is going to affect the way that you interact.
yeah,
Everything is interconnected. And, the seriousness with which we take people criticizing Lori Harvey, I'd like to see us take that same criticism, that same level of seriousness, right? And apply it to things like this that actually matter. Because at the end of the day, you can be making $200,000 a year, $250,000 a year. You could be so educated, you could have 10 degrees, you could be this, that, and the third. But if you're not healthy, your ass ain't gonna be here.
mm,
Or if you are here, you're going to have a very poor quality of life. and we just gotta stop that. Like, I used to be in these poetry spots, and I remember one time a poet was, doing one of their poems about the revolution, and they're like, "Yo, well, somebody after he got on stage, another cat got up on stage. This big swole cat used to work out all the time, and he talked for a few minutes. He was hosting that night. He talked for a few minutes about, yo, I hear y'all talk about revolution a lot, and that's great. I'm with it,
Uh-oh.
I'm game, but shit, if there was a revolution, I could actually pick up some shit and throw it. I could swing a bat. You know what I'm saying? Like I could actually contribute. Most of y'all can't run 20 yards without falling out.
Yeah,
What the hell are you gonna do? And
Well,
I
exactly.
mean, it was laughter. It was very uncomfortable laughter, but
as it should be.
goddamn it, he had a point.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We owe it to ourselves and our families to stop eating like shit, to start exercising, getting the proper rest, and taking care of ourselves. Period. Point blank. End of story. Hashtag no coddling, no excuses. I am so tired of hearing people make excuses for this shit, including myself at one point. You
Hmm.
understand what I'm saying? And it's like, hell, I went to the doctor the other day and my paperwork came back a little funny. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't realize that, cholesterol is high and this and that. Okay, but it's because I didn't realize what was going on. I didn't see, I didn't know. Now that I know,
Hmm.
what you think's gonna happen?
Adjust. Make
I'm
Boom.
the
just
arrangement.
saying,
It's go
you
time.
know. And when I say it, God damn it, I mean it. And people know when I say something, I mean it. We
Yeah.
all have to get in the habit of saying what we mean and meaning what we say and taking things that are this critical, as critical as our dieting, health, and exercise, seriously and acting on what the hell we say we're going to do and what we need to do.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
we be bullshitting. I'm going to just keep it a buck. The vast majority of people I know, black folks, when it comes down to health, we be bullshit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's it's so important because as men, we like to ride women all the time.
Right?
And I know in society, men have money, and most men that have money um, don't too much be in the best shape, right? So we
This is
let it
true.
go. We let it go because they're not in the best shape. But if you're talking about nation building, if you're talking about uh, being that ultimate couple goal that you glorify with other relationships, part of that is reflection. I'm in a relationship with somebody, they should be in a reflection of me. You
Agreed.
should say, that's
100.
the female version of Ant. That's my mate. You should look at my mate as a female version of me. It's a
Mm.
reflection. I don't want to be running around here with a goddamn pot belly looking like Crane from
Ninja
Ninja
Turtles.
Turtles. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Where I got a
Yo.
man outside of my stomach. You know what I'm saying?
Woo!
So I want to make sure that I give my wife the same decency and respect and admiration that she is giving me. So when I
Yeah.
walk out the door, I want my wife to be like, I got a fine ass motherfucker.
Yeah. That
I
is
don't want to be the one that just say my wife is fine as fuck.
right.
I want my wife to look at me and have that same admiration that I have for her.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Oh yeah.
We do.
I always say that I'm not going to let myself go and monitor her to make sure she ain't letting herself go. Accountability as partners is holding each other accountable.
Real talk.
If I say, babe, we need to go to the gym because we look like we both slipping.
There you go.
Hey, all right, let's go to the gym,
There you go.
and do what we got to do.
That's it.
But I'm not going to sit here and, be like, damn, girl, you done put on 5 pounds, man. And I'm over here looking like a bag of snacks and eating snacks and being reckless with myself.
Real talk.
Because if I love my mate as much as I say I love my mate,
Yeah.
my health is important to her.
Yeah.
My health is my wealth to her. Because
Right.
if I drop down dead and I stop functioning, that cripples her as well because I'm the provider, right? So if I'm the provider and she is depending on my source of income to sustain what we got going down, because part of the contract that I did was I presented myself as such, then I got to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to be here as long as I can for her.
Yes.
Because if I
Right.
eliminate myself in the process by doing reckless, I'm shortening my lifespan, not only here on earth, whether it's my family, I have children or whatever, but I'm shortening her interaction and her bond with me as well. Because once I go, the bond between me and her dissipates. There's no
Yeah.
more.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm letting her down. Indirectly, I'm letting her down as well. Because I'm
Exactly.
saying that I don't care about myself enough for me to see the longevity with you.
That's
Not just
it.
provision either, but protection as well.
Yeah.
If a situation like Major said about what that poet came up and said on that poetry night, God forbid there's a situation and you got to get busy, you got to protect your family, you got to
Yeah.
protect your wife and your children,
Mm-hmm.
and you got all this weight, you got all this size on you, you out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna win a fight with whoever's coming at you?
Real talk.
And
Yeah,
I know a lot of people like, man, I don't gotta fight, and that's a joke too. Man,
That's a
I don't
joke.
gotta fight. I can aim. Okay, you can aim. Cool. You got that big ass gut. How you gonna get to your firearm?
exactly.
You
Real
got
talk.
you got in your
Also,
appendix. You got to move that belly out the way. You got in
Yeah.
your side.
exactly
You got to move them love handles. You got in your back. You can't even reach your back.
correct.
By the
I
time you
went
get to it, they already got 4 or 5 holes in you.
correct. I was watching Extraction today. What was it today or yeah, earlier today or yesterday? I was watching Extraction.
Sounds good.
They
Is
got
it good?
Extraction 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And in part 2, I was, I'm just using that because you brought that up, Bobby, and I wanted to insert that part of Extraction 2, and the lead role guy is Thor, if y'all don't know. So Thor, if you're an Avenger fan, Thor, the guy who
I'm
plays Thor, that's who's in Extraction, right? And in Extraction, he's physically fit, but there's a little daughter that he has to help because he's helping the wife escape from the husband.
Please
She
don't
has
tell
two
us the whole
children. She
movie.
has a son.
Yeah.
She has a son and a
Because you
daughter.
do that, and
Huh?
please don't tell
No
us the
no
whole movie because
spoilers.
you do
No, no,
that.
no, no. I'm not telling you the whole story,
Good.
but
We
it's a
probably gonna
part.
watch it regardless, but still.
Yeah, it's a part in there where the little girl gets injured and he has to pick her up and he's running with her while bullets is shooting after him for like 2 miles. You
Shit.
can't do that as a fat nigga, with a stomach or whatever, and you running with a little girl she looks like she's about 90 pounds,
Yeah.
and you're running at full speed at 90, full speed with her in your arms.
Yeah.
And that's what, and I just say that because when we talk about, protecting your family, you might have to do that. We
You
might
might.
have a civil, we might have a civil war that breaks loose, and you have to move your family. And
Mm-hmm.
if you have a young one, you might have to put your young one on your shoulders and run because
Mm-hmm.
your wife ain't gonna be able to do it. Your girl not gonna be able to do it. Your
Right.
son ain't gonna be able to do it. So as a man, you got to make sure that you're equipped to do it if you need to.
Yeah. Be
Right.
So
prepared. Real talk.
Or even for your own well being, because I mean, the pendulum swings both ways. So What if you the one that needs rescuing?
True.
I said a while back that every man should have the skills necessary to save their own life, and that this plays in that perfectly. If you're in a situation, if you're in a burning building, you in just a basic 2-story building right now that catches on fire, you
Mm-hmm.
got to get out. The whole downstairs is done. You can't go downstairs. You got to jump out a window. Can you? Are you so big that you're unable to fit out the window?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Real talk.
If you're able to get out, do you have the ability to climb down properly and save yourself, or are you so heavy that there's no way you can support your weight?
Mm-hmm.
If
Correct.
you in a car accident and you know the rescuers are trying to get to you, maybe it's a situation where the gas tank is leaking or something that might blow up. They need to get you out right away. You so big they can't even reach you or even get to the seatbelt or even pull you out properly. They got to try and maul the whole frame of the car to get you out. Or some other
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
situation where you need to depend on other people to be able to pull you or carry you or otherwise move you, and you're so heavy that it's not feasible. It's going to take a whole lot more effort and work than it should for the average person.
Yeah.
Again, these are things. Hell, even if you're traveling, people like to people all over now traveling. That's the thing to do now. Going different places. You get airplanes, and if you're a certain size, they will charge you more for your tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Or
Right.
in some cases, you have to buy an extra seat because due
Yeah.
to how big are they'll say, well, we can't put anyone else here. You're going to need to buy 2 seats to occupy you. I mean, these are real things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what? I want to also point out too, because we talked about the brothers, you know what I mean? Whereas we tend to, when we're the really big breadwinners, we tend to kind of let ourselves go, and that's absolutely true. And we really need to do a better job of taking care of ourselves overall and being more accountable for the way we look, not only for our, appearance or whatever the case may be, but just for our well-being, as we've stated. We really need to be on top of that. No matter how much money we're making, we need to
Right.
stay on top of that. But I also would like to go back to something that Bobby said about the two pinkies. And I want to point this out to the sisters
Mm-hmm.
because I've been seeing this for a very long time. Let me make this clear before I even go into the particulars of what I'm saying. Both pinkies were overweight. Both of them.
Correct.
Both pinkies were overweight. But and I remember the picture. There was a meme that went out talking about, oh, this was fine pinky, and this is Stay Puft Marshmallow Man pinky or whatever.
hmm
And it's
Pinky and
like,
Big Toe. Yep.
right, exactly. And I'm looking at this picture and I'm like, both of these women are fat. And the brother like, oh hell no, they thick. You don't know what you talking about. You don't know what's good. Shut the fuck up. Stop telling women this shit. Stop gassing women that are overweight and
Yeah.
telling them that they thick. And unfortunately, a lot of y'all brothers don't know the difference. You know what I'm saying? If I'm keeping it a buck. Because I see, a lot of women that brothers call fine that are overweight, that are
Mm.
even obese, and there's a difference between, overweight and morbidly obese. But I see a lot of women that brothers talk about, be all in their head. Oh, you so fine, you so this, you so that. No, you're overweight, and that's unhealthy. And
Right.
even though you still, some of those curves may still look good, there's still a
Now,
problem there. Now, exactly, because we forget
today,
about gravity. We forget about gravity
tomorrow.
and how that works and how you just expand as you age. So if you already real thick, where's that going?
Mm.
5, 10, 15 years. Where's that going? You know what I mean? Back in the day, and even if you notice, me and my wife were watching rap videos the other day. I do everything with this girl. We hang out so much, right? So, we just at the crib watching old school videos or whatever. And the song we came out to at our wedding was Wipe Me Down, right? So
Yeah.
we watching the Wipe Me Down video, just kind of reliving, because we played the wedding video. We're gonna send y'all that too. But we
Nice.
kind of reliving the moment or whatever. And she, once again is just marveling about how 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, all, not some, not a few, all of the women in the videos were like this. Dude,
Yeah.
even if you look at older pictures of Beyonce, none of these women were over 135 pounds, dude. Not
Yeah.
one of them.
And this before the whole BBL nonsense that we
Before the
got going
whole
on now.
BBL bullshit. And this is because dudes keep feeding women this bullshit and women keep buying it. Oh, you
Mhm.
so fine. Oh, you so fine. You so thick. Big old ass. Big old ghetto booty. All this shit. First of all, look, and I'm not shitting on people, women who are larger women. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
again, this is a health issue more so than anything. I'm not talking down on women. That's even though that may not be my preference. I'm not shitting on those women. I'm simply saying we have allowed, this whole stripper culture that we have, right? Where they constantly talking about thick. They got a song called "Thick." I'm in love with a stripper, and everything is always about the women that are thick, women that are thick, women that are thick. And big girls kind of took that term and kidnapped it.
Mhm.
So even if you're the most overweight chick, Lizzo calls herself thick. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, dude, it's that's not where it was supposed to go. Thick used to mean, okay, you have a slim frame, you have a slim frame, nice figure, you got curves. That's what thick used to mean. You know what I'm saying? And now you're taking thick, and people like Lizzo have adopted that term or whatever. So this term that thick is the thing that everybody has to be is what has a lot of these women out here.
Thick been dead.
I mean, listen, okay, they go out of their
R.I.P.
way. I know women personally who have been trying to put on. They're decent sized women. Been trying to put on weight. I see them post about it every other day. I'm just trying to put on this pound so I can get me some ass and whatever. Like you look perfectly fine. Why are you doing it? It's this thing where I gotta keep up with the Joneses. I gotta best her. I gotta top her. You're competing with this other chick and this other chick and this other chick and this other chick, and all of y'all are trying to get thicker, and you end up being obese. Is
And
the
Yeah.
they're
long
going
and
about
short
it
of
in the most unhealthy way possible too.
it. In the
It'll be
most
one thing if they're saying, you know what, let me get in the gym, let me start running some sprints, let me start doing some squats, whatever, so I can go ahead and get this thing popping. It'll be one thing if that was the motivation. But
but that's not it.
when the means is, oh, we gonna just eat reckless and crazy, or go over to the Dominican Republic and
Yep,
get some fix a flat put inside of it,
that's it. That's it.
it's wild.
That's
And
what they're
So,
you
doing.
know, I need our sisters to be more hip to this and understand. I know that a lot of it feeds into insecurities and ego because let's be honest, it might not be 100% of the population. Few things are, but no matter how much she may say and protest otherwise, most women do want to look attractive to men.
That's absolutely what it is.
Even if they don't want all the men, they still want to be liked or seen as desirable to them. Even if they only want the
mhm.
right of refusal, they still want that.
Yes,
They do.
Okay.
validation.
Yeah, they're definitely competing
So,
with women, but they also want that as well too. A lot of these dudes that are hyping women up, talking about you look thick this and thick that, they will thick you right into the grave.
Sure
yeah.
will.
It's a fetishization. Now they'll tell you all, oh, you look so girl, you look fit, and they'll lay down with you. They might even trick and toss some $40 your way or so up. But
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, later on in the years, once you need your gout medication, once you
Mm-hmm.
have issues with your gallbladder, once you
Uh-huh.
have hypertension and diabetes medication and insulin strips and all that stuff, I guarantee you they ain't gonna show up and trick on insulin money.
Show, show
I bet they're
lane.
not. They're
Show
not gonna
lane.
trick on you, and they're not gonna pay your deductible when you got to go in to the hospital.
And
Don't let these
and
dudes thick you to death,
and they
please.
seldom these same dudes who talk all this thick, 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 thick. They who talk all this thick stuff. They seldom marry an overweight woman. They'll play with all
That's
these,
another thing.
you know, chicks with these big old, asses that need their own zip code and all that shit. But they seldom marry those women. And that's just the long and short of it. You know what I'm
True.
saying? And it's like, sisters, you got to be smarter than this. You know what I'm saying? Your own health and your well being, and you being sized properly, meaning looking healthy, feeling healthy, or whatever the case may be. That is the most important thing. And a good quality man will
Yeah.
come in and scoop you up if your attitude is right. Um, Without you having the biggest ass or the biggest breast or whatever the case may be. Case in point, Asian women are the most married demographic. They ain't got nothing. No shade to my Asian sisters or whatever the case may be, but broadly speaking, how many Asian women out there got a big old rack on their chest and a big ass? It just don't work like that. And they're the most
Yeah.
married demographic. Sisters, you gotta stop fall a victim to the fake praise that some of these rappers is giving y'all. It's bullshit.
So that's what over the years, that's what happens. They have been coddling the women with words that soothe them and not is trying to be offensive to them.
Right.
Just like fat, PHAT, pretty hot and tempted,
Mm-hmm.
was another pseudonym that came in to kind of water down the word fat. Because you know, when you say somebody's fat, then it goes into the whole fat shaming, or it's
Yeah.
a derogatory way of expressing or showing, describing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Fat, even though you're fat, because your doctor tells you, hey, you're fat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Doctors don't water nothing down and say you're thick. They tell you, hey, you're fat.
You're
According
fat.
according to your height and your weight, you're fat.
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh,
know,
they're even taking
and
that to war now.
yeah, so then they don't want to uh hear that. So what they do is they try to coddle women down with these words that will pacify them and soothe them in ways. So when you see the thick is another word that kind of hides them from being fat, labeled
Right.
fat, but also gives them a word now that kind of gives more value than what
Right.
they are, because thick now is like, hey, shit, I like a thick woman, even though they might not be talking about you in the thick version, but now you get to use it because now you have to be. It's everything is basically what they call that. They it's subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Thick is subjective
Right.
because
Right.
I could show you three women
Highly.
and say they all thick, but they're different levels of women.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? So
Correct.
that's what they get to blend in the gray area of being called thick. So when they use that label, like a Lizzo, Lizzo is not thick. Um, we can label Kelly Rowland as thick, right? Because Kelly
Correct.
Rowland is a slim girl, but she has a shape on her. So
Right.
she's kind of what they call slim thick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's different variations of thick, and I think it's like one big umbrella that a lot of these women that are obese or fat that want to fall right under the umbrella and say, okay, I'm along the lines of these women. So
Mm-hmm.
now I get to share the value like
Right.
everybody else. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of the major things. So definitely, I want to show this video, and then we can wrap up this part of it where we talk about the men's health, because I know we just gave them about an hour and 30 minutes of great information that
Yeah.
they can definitely rewind back to. So let me show you this video real quick, and then we can go ahead and talk about it in the transition.
So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out.
So that's not it.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah, that's the dude right there. Let's see if this is it. Hold on.
Family for
Yeah.
dinner that's healthy and tastes good? You can follow the plate method. This healthy eating plan works for everybody, including people with diabetes. Indeed, making nutritious, healthy meals will be a snap. What's a healthy plate? It's a way to control your serving sizes where you don't have to count. Simply use a 7-inch plate for children and a 9-inch plate for adults. First, divide the plate in half and fill one of them with vegetables. There are 2 types of vegetables. starchy like potatoes, corn, peas, or plantains, and non-starchy like zucchini, jicama, cucumbers, carrots, or salad. If you have diabetes, fill half your plate with non-starchy vegetables. Then fill 1/4 with whole grains or starches like brown rice, corn, beans, or whole wheat pasta. In the other quarter, add some lean protein like tofu, grilled fish, or chicken. What about adding a side of tortilla or bread? That's hard to resist, I know! The trick is serve yourself a smaller portion of the other starches on your plate instead. To complete your meal, add a drink like unsweetened coffee, tea, or a glass of milk. But remember that drinking 8 ounces of milk affects your blood sugar just as it would if you ate another tortilla or a slice of bread. Or you can also choose water with a squeeze of lemon or lime. How you create your plate is up to you. You have many options, as long as you remember to follow these healthy guidelines. And ta-da! You're all set! You might be thinking, how can you use the plate method to make vegetable beef soup or other meals? Simply follow the same idea. Fill your pot with low-sodium broth and lots of healthy vegetables like corn, cabbage, zucchini, carrots, and onions. And some lean beef, but not too much. Just like you'd put on 1/4 of your plate for each person you're serving. If you want, add your favorite type of bread on the side. And you've got the right amount for a healthy meal. Enjoy!
All right.
All right.
So I
Okay.
just wanted to show
I like that breakdown.
part.
I love it.
Huh?
But
Yeah,
I like
just
that
want-
breakdown.
I wanted to show that because we was talking about, Bobby was talking about earlier about the vegetables and how you portion it and everything like that. I thought it was
Yeah.
a great diagram to show you how you can eat a healthy meal and how you adjust your plate, because we have bad eating habits, right? We eat a lot of junk. We don't balance stuff out. And it just shows you a way to balance stuff out, and also how to cut back on a lot of stuff if you want to squeeze in something else that might be high. Just like they were talking about the pasta, cut back the pasta and insert the bread if you need to. Just everything is about balance. So just balancing out your plate in proportions. That way you don't have to inhale or eat something that will end up being bad for you later on down, because you took too much portions of something that could cause issues later on down the road. So that's why I wanted to show that video, to kind of give you guys a general gist. And just like they said, you create your plate however you want, whatever you want to put in there, but just make sure that it's a balanced out plate and you don't have any bunch of starches and stuff like that. When I was dating a lot, I always seem to date women that know how to cook. And every time they do that, they always be like, and I'll fix my plate. They'll be like, listen, how you gonna fix your plate and don't have no greens on your plate? So I had to, I got caught, and I had to make sure that I had a balance of greens. But that's just the power of a lot of these women that know what they do, man. Sometimes, they do corrective behavior. It's good to have a woman like that in your life that do that look out for you and say, hey, man, you got to have a balance in your plate. So I just wanted to point that out. But go ahead.
No, brother, let me tell you something. That's imperative that you have a woman that's like that, man. My wife is a pit bull when it comes to that, yo. Like, what? No greens? What you mean no greens? Yo, she don't play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Got a sister in the chat that's saying exactly why she's bettering her health. Shout out to you.
Salute to you,
Shout out
Monet.
to you.
Salute to
Let
you.
me take some time out to address that real quick. First of all, I got some catching up to do, obviously, because what the hell is jicama? I don't know what the hell that is, but I'm going to go research it.
I was scratching my head like, okay, cool.
What the hell is that?
Need to look into that. All right.
But look, that's beside the point. That's why we do this show, so we can learn. Jicama. All right. Okay, but check it.
It could be like in the Jamaican world, we have something called chocho, right?
Okay.
And that's kind of like a green vegetable, but oh gosh, it has a horrible taste, but it's good for you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it's something in that
It depends on how
cultural
you
realm.
cook it. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I gotta check that out, man. But I just want to address this also real quick.
yeah.
What that sister just said in the comments, that tells me two things. I love it.
Yeah,
Sister says that that's why she's listening to us talking about this stuff, and she's saying, "Hey, this is why I'm working on, updating my health now." So that means one, that what we're saying is resonating with people, right?
yeah,
So I love that. I respect that. I love to see when people take words that could be viewed as critical and they use them to their advantage, right? Because we're always gonna give it to you straight, no chaser. And a lot of times when we have these type of posts online and we have these type of conversations online, Anthony will tell you, Bobby will tell you, there's always this group of women that's going to get mad and verbally they're shaking their spears in the air and they want blood. Boy, they going in on the comments. Oh, y'all dusty hotep niggas, this and that, blah blah blah, dot dot dot. And all that does is show me their lack of maturity. um
correct,
at the end of the day, we're discussing this because this is something that we all need to work on. We
correct.
talked about the brothers and how some brothers need to work on it. We talked about the sisters and how some sisters need to work on it. There are some people that I know, if they were listening right now, oh, it'd be World War III. You understand what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Sisters, unfortunately. And this is, where we unfortunately sometimes get into a bit of a gender war conversation. This lets me know that there are very good, intelligent, sharp, well meaning sisters that are out there that are actually listening to what we have to say and value it. And I salute you, sister, and I respect you 1 trillion for that, because we need more of that. When we come to the table, when we're talking about these things, it's never in bad faith. It's never to attack sisters. We love our sisters. You understand what I'm saying? But sometimes we need to get on each other. We need to have some tough love, or whatever the case may be. My wife
yeah,
gives it to me all the time. My doctor's giving it to me now. You know what I'm saying? People need to be on each other's ass to make sure that we're doing what we got to do to get better. So shout out to you, sister.
correct,
That's what's up. I love to see stuff like that.
correct, correct.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely.
as we go to, you guys want to wrap anything up on this before we head into our next discussion?
No, no, that was great. That was ultra thorough, man.
Couple
Bob?
brief things I want to say is because something did occur to me.
Yeah.
Typically, you have people who, when they decide that they want to go ahead and switch things if they want to take better control of their health and everything, they're saying, well, I'm just gonna cut everything. I'm just gonna go become vegetarian. I'm gonna become vegan.
Mm,
But I would encourage people to really properly get into and look into and understand these different diets, whether it's going vegan, vegetarianism, or doing the whole what do they call it, the keto diet or whatever. Look into these things and properly understand. It's not as simple as just switching out the foods. There's the way that you've been eating over time, so you're gonna have to ease into certain things because you can't shock your body. There's a lot of things, especially if your body's been used to adapting to certain things. You have to ease into things a certain way. Also, everything isn't for everybody. For us in particular, I would definitely recommend looking into, rather than going vegan or vegetarian, look into eating a flexitarian diet where
mm,
you sort of kind of on the spectrum. You're not entirely vegetarian, but you're not entirely a meat eater either. It's somewhere
Mm,
in the middle,
mm,
and that's
that's
important
me.
because if you especially look at black people, our blood, our bodies are different from other people, and every race's people's bodies are different in different ways
mm,
because based on how we've evolved over time, things are different for us. Black people, for example, we have a higher concentration of B12 in our systems than other people, but we tend to have lower levels of vitamin D, which is why it's so important for us to spend time in the sun and
Mm,
get vitamin D the natural way. So while we can supplement with other things, and everybody should definitely take a multivitamin if you don't do anything else, you definitely should take a multivitamin regularly. You should definitely take
yeah.
fish oil. And you can look up the different quantities in which you should take them. and there's other foods, especially that you know you don't eat too often or that you know you should have more of, look to supplement them. But when you cut things out like meat, understand there's certain vitamins and minerals that you cannot get in plants, or at least you can't get them easily in plants that you can get readily from meat. So it's not
Mm,
uncommon for people to go vegetarian and go vegan, and they go through periods where they're feeling very weak or they're suffering in other areas because they're missing out on some vital nutrients that they're not getting from just their rabbit food, as I like to make fun of it and call it. So um, if you're gonna think about doing, don't think of it as just I'm just gonna do this for a fad. If you're serious about changing the way you eat, invest in yourself. The same way how you go and you would grind and work hard and save up your sick days and whatever so you could take a vacation.
Yeah.
Same way you'd rack up and save your money so you get a brand new Birkin or a brand new Tory Burch bag or get a brand new car. The same way how you invest the time to understand your body. Go and talk to your doctor. Go and speak to a nutritionist if you don't have one. If you have a local herbalist that's thorough, talk to them as well too. Find out what makes the most sense for you. When you see a doctor, and you should be seeing your physical therapist, your physician on a regular basis, at least annually. Make sure you get your blood work done, and don't just be cheaping at the basics. Get a full panel on your blood work.
Hmm.
Find out what your cholesterol levels are, what your lipids are like. Find out all that stuff because the basic things they screen for you might be good with, but there might be some other things that could use some tweaking.
Yeah.
Find out, talk it over with them. Hey, I'm trying to have a better quality of this. I want better energy. What can I do? Talk to your physician. Speak to a nutritionist. Get yourself in the game. It's not going to cost you a whole lot of money, but the benefits could grossly pay off for themselves in time.
They will.
If you're gonna do the thing, don't half-ass it. Do it properly. You only get one body. You only get one life. So you can make the most of it and have an amazing quality of life. You can have a long life full of health, wealth, great moments with your family, or you can have a shorter life and a real bumpy ride of it
Hmm.
that probably rather forget than remember. So look into that. Consider going flexitarian if that's a little too hard to process. I believe the Mediterranean diet, as they call it, is
Mm.
also the closest to what we have traditionally eaten historically in terms of the ratio of the ways to go about things. Flexitarian diets, the Mediterranean diets, those are the way to go.
No doubt. Real talk.
definitely. That's what's up, man. So we got some great gems and some great information. You guys can always check back and, like you said, always go and check with your doctor and also with your trainer, because they provide a meal plan for you. So just make sure you guys do an allergy test. Make sure that if you haven't gotten an allergy test, do an allergy test.
Yes.
Shout out to my homegirl Keita. She wasn't able to eat seafood in over 20 years. She went and she changed up her diet, redid her allergy test, and now she's able to eat shellfish.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
so you guys got to understand, things like that can occur. So just do an update on your allergy test. If you haven't done one, then do one, and that will help you in the long run. So great information, guys. Appreciate it. I think this will go a long way for a lot of fellas out there, and even
You
some
already
women
know.
listening that would take notes and help their men get into that level. And a lot of women, if you can't talk to your man, bring them over here to this platform. We'll talk to them for him.
Yeah.
So we're making the job easier for yourself. All right. With that being said, we're going into our trending weekly topic.
Yeah.
And this one is definitely a very touching one, right? So definitely want to play the video real quick and then we'll get into it. All right.
Get your food!
Hold on. Here we go.
Ladies, get your food! Who? Get in the car? Who? Nay. Get your food! Get your food! If you say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. Oh my grandma, say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. Oh, say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out.
All right. So what happened after that? So this incident was very brutal. Trigger warning. I forgot to label the trigger warning before. My apologies. Um, it was a 14-year-old and a mother that was out getting food, as you guys seen in the local uh, black-owned business. Um, and while they were getting food, um, the mother and this gentleman got into an altercation. Their son, 14-year-old, was in the car. The mother was having exchange words back and forth with this guy, had a heated argument, and this guy became very violent. Before he got to that level of becoming violent, during that midst of that, the mother was texting her son about what was going on. So he, I guess, must have went. They must have had the gun in the car, and the son took the gun out of the car, put it in his jacket or his hoodie, and when he came to the door and they had a little altercation and beef, when he saw the guy struck his mother, he ended up shooting him in the back. The guy ended up going outside, and the mother instructed him, her son, to shoot him in the back a couple more times. The mother then said, "You need to shoot the girlfriend because apparently the guy's girlfriend was with him getting the food. And while he was there arguing with the woman, she was back in the background, heard laughing. That was part of the story, that she was out there laughing about the situation while it was happening. So the mother kind of felt offended and felt like, hey, since you were, there with him, then you need to get shot too. The mother then tried to grab the gun from her son because he didn't want to shoot the girl, and the son ended up pushing the mother off, keeping the gun, and they both got in a vehicle and exit the premises. Later on, they both were taken into custody, and the mother was charged with instructing her son to shoot uh, the victim, well, bully victim. Um, and then the son got arrested for discharging a firearm in a reckless behavior, and also handling a firearm because he's 14 years old. He shouldn't even be around a firearm. So I think he got 2 charges on him with that. Um, and so that's how that boiled down to. So you guys seen the altercation, and I just wanted to talk about that. So here's before we get into that, I do have a couple of the reports here. Let me see, this one I think was the first one. Okay, so Brown ran from the store and the hood. Let me see if that was the first. Hold on. Let me see if that's the first one. Okay, no, here's the first one. All right. So a mother is facing multiple charges after she allegedly encouraged her 14-year-old son to repeatedly shoot a man she was fighting with last weekend at a far south side restaurant. Carlisha Hood, 35, was at a Maxwell Street Express at 11656 South Halsted Street when she got into an argument with Jeremy Brown, 32, while waiting in line for food, Cook County prosecutors said Thursday. Brown's girlfriend was laughing and encouraging Brown during the argument, according to prosecutors. Hood texted her son and had him come to the restaurant as the argument turned physical, prosecutors said. Brown punched Hood in the head, and Hood's son took out the gun and shot Brown in the back, they said. And then Brown ran from the store as Hood's son allegedly continued to fire at him. The teen and his mother followed Brown into the parking lot where she told her son to keep shooting Brown and to kill him, prosecutors said. When the teen stopped shooting, his mother allegedly told him to shoot Brown's girlfriend and then tried to take the gun from her son. The teen pushed his mother away and both left in the car and drove home together, prosecutors say. Brown was shot twice and later died. So I wanted to highlight that, and so you guys could see that what I was telling you guys wasn't something that I just made up. This is actually what was said. Um, there's a lot of stuff that can be broken down here, but
Man,
I will hold mines back because I want you guys to go ahead and tell me everything that you guys need to tell me about the situation.
bruh.
Who was wrong? You guys seen the video. Who was wrong? Who was in the right? Is anybody in the right? What are your thoughts on that?
Everybody's wrong. Everybody's wrong. There, bruh. This shit makes my head explode when I see some shit like this. It's wrong from so many angles. You understand? I mean, my God. I said this to you earlier. You know, there is nothing that this is like when you see the guy got stopped at a traffic stop and he ends up dead. There's nothing that you could be arguing about in a goddamn restaurant regarding food that should result in
Yeah,
somebody losing their life.
correct.
Period. Okay? That's the first layer. You understand what I'm saying? These two people, we've gotten to a point, unfortunately, among some of us in Black society, where we are so immature and so ill equipped to handle conflict that something as simple as a disagreement in a restaurant over food results in someone losing their life. Like I said, everybody's wrong. This dusty nigga, for swinging on this woman, you know, I mean, what was that about? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? That he's definitely wrong. Yeah, you having a heated discussion with the sister, you're arguing back and forth. I heard him. He's arguing, telling the woman, "Get your food, get your food." At what point does that become something that you should swing on a woman for?
correct.
You understand where I'm coming from? So there's that. Um, but the largest issue, the biggest issue that I have here
Hmm.
is with this woman
Correct.
for a number of reasons. Okay. We have talked about the masculinization of women excessively on this show. Okay. Why are you sitting up here arguing with a grown ass man, like you much man as he is, and y'all
Hmm.
gonna scrap in any capacity?
Yeah,
I'm all for sisters standing up for themselves and, not being disrespected. But when it makes sense, that was nonsense. And the whole time that you were sitting up there, they're going to lock her ass under the jail.
yeah,
Okay? Because the whole time that you're standing up there going back and forth with him, you know, to the point where he hits you, you're on the phone texting your son, your 14-year-old son, telling him to bring a firearm into this
correct.
establishment. Okay, I mean the dynamics of this story make my head explode. Because what law enforcement is going to look at is that's an opportunity to retreat.
Mm,
Dumbass, if you got time to stand up there and text the whole time that you're talking to him, you're not in any imminent danger, fool.
correct.
Okay? That's how they're going to interpret it, and that is correct. You had an opportunity to retreat, to diffuse the situation of this silly ass argument over food. Okay?
Correct.
And you kept talking and kept talking, and he hit you, which is, if two men are, having a heated discussion and one of them keeps talking, they're going to hit the other one.
That's
Yeah,
another story.
If you jump up in a man's face and like you much man as he is, and he swings on you, well,
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Not saying that he's right, but I mean, why would you stay there and put yourself in that predicament? Why?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, especially considering you have your child in the
Preach.
car.
Correct.
So instead of removing yourself from the situation and diffusing the situation so you can get home safely with your child, that's how I would think about it. No, you're going to escalate the situation and bring your child into the situation. The fuck is wrong with you? You understand what I'm saying? So now your 14-year-old child, he's 14, right? Is sitting there with a gun in his hand because you told him to go get it. And of course, a fight ensues, and then he shoots the guy. And you tell him to keep on shooting him and to kill him, and then to subsequently kill his girlfriend. This is a mentally unwell, despicable individual. You understand? And I hope they lock her ass under the jail. Because that is something, one of the most
Yeah.
despicable things you can do is involve your child in some bullshit like this. Now your child has also been arrested, and your child is going to jail. Your child is facing charges because of your ignorant hood monkey ass. Fuck
Yeah.
out of here, man. No. It just doesn't make sense on any level. It's like I'm looking at this shit like, who is thinking? The kid is also wrong. Because just because your mom's a dumbass hood rat don't mean that you got to do everything she said. Okay, the kid is also wrong, unfortunately. Now, they're going to take it easier on him because he's a minor. Hopefully. You understand what I'm saying? You don't know because he's still black. You understand? So we don't know what's going to happen to that young brother. But he's looking at the specter of his entire life being destroyed because his mother was in her emotions because of some shit that happened at a restaurant when she was fighting with some stranger over some goddamn food. You cannot be serious. Again, I'm going to go back to our people and certain things that we just don't take seriously. If you're in a restaurant as a lady and you arguing with a man and the discussion gets heated, think about yourself. Be cognizant of the where and when and the why, for crying out loud. Why are we taking it to this level over some damn food? A $10 plate. This man is dead. This man is dead now. You and your kid are both in custody because y'all couldn't agree on the order of operations surrounding a $10 plate. Bitch, please.
Correct.
Nah, bruh. That shit ain't acceptable. We got to get dusty niggas like this up out the paint. You know what I'm saying? That is extremely damaging and traumatizing to everybody involved. Can you imagine what this kid is going to go through?
Yeah.
It's just so much. Like you said, it's like this is the short version of what I want to say. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But unfortunately, and I don't like to see black people go to jail or be punished. But, for the mother especially, this punishment needs to be extreme and severe. They need to throw the book at her stupid ass to set an example. You don't move like that. You don't endanger at any rate. You absolutely do not put your child in the middle of bullshit, man. You don't do that. Man, that shit got me hot. It's ridiculous, man. But that's the type of logic that we're using out here. This is the type of didn't we have a show a couple broadcasts ago about being self-aware? What's the self-awareness look like on behalf of this mother and this dusty nigga that she's fighting with? What does the self-awareness look like? Even on behalf of the son, what does the self-awareness look like? What is the emotional maturity? we got a long way to go, man. It's so wrong for from so many angles. I really can't even go into it in the depth that I'd like to. But suffice it to say, I've seen things like this happen before. You guys recall back in the day when the Popeyes chicken sandwich came out. There were videos all over the place of niggas, rolling on the floor, fighting each other uh, over who got the last Popeyes chicken sandwich. Um, Black Friday. Are we gonna talk about Black Friday? When you see niggas rolling around the floor, who gets the last flat screen TV or whatever the case may be. This type of behavior gotta stop. Our code of conduct is way out of order. This is why we can't get things done because of the level of importance that people put on this type of bullshit. Somebody lost their life and two other people went to jail. One of them, at least for a very long time, they're going to be in jail over nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Entirely preventable, extremely, extremely inappropriate, and just outrageous. This is just dumb nigga shit at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll land my plane there. I mean, I'm sickened by this. We really, really gotta be on top of this type of stuff, man. It happens too often. Granted, it's not all black people, but you know what? The white media is gonna use their powerful media apparatus and magnify it and put other incidents along with it and make it look like this is just how niggas behave.
Mm-hmm.
They use this type of stuff as propaganda to give them an excuse to harm us. Nothing that we do happens in a vacuum. For you dumbasses out there that might want to ask why I care so much.
Yeah.
Because y'all love to ask that question. You understand? Everything that happens to one black person on a wide scale, especially something bad like this, ends up affecting others of us
Mm-hmm.
on some level. This is why the cops will pull you over and blow your ass away and nobody will say nothing. No, they're not right for doing that, but they'll use shit like this as a justification for it because they have the power. Their media allows them to do that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So we just have to be very careful. More so than anything else, the thing that jumps out about this particular situation to me is how we need to really work on our conflict resolution skills. We need to know when to walk away. We need to know when to diffuse a situation. We don't need to ever really get like that. The only time you get like that, where you're ready to fight a man or whatever the case may be, if somebody's really making an imminent threat to somebody in your family. There was a girl a couple years ago I saw in a parade, in one of these pride parades or whatever, and there was this much older man that brought her out there and he was hugging up on her and feeling on her or whatever the case may be, and a
I
brother
saw
came
that.
out.
Yeah.
You saw that video. A brother came
Mhm.
out there. There's a white guy, a little white girl. And he brought this little girl, must have been all of 8 years old. Grown ass man at a pride parade. Hundreds of thousands of people around. Nobody said shit. A black man saw what was going on. Didn't seem like I don't know if he didn't seem like he belonged in no pride parade at all. He seemed like a
He's
very,
probably just walking by trying to get
yeah, he was just
someplace.
walking by, just rough and tumble type of brother. He walked up in there and he stepped to that dude and he checked him. Now, if he squared off at somebody and he wanted to fight him, or what, he wanted to pull out his thing, his his weapon, and do something or whatever, in that instance where you see a grown-up molesting a child publicly, okay, I can understand that. You understand? But over some goddamn food, over some barbecue chicken, Really? No way. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. We really have to check ourselves, our behavior, and how we respond to things, and see the civility um in each other, and treat each other in a more civil manner. Just like, you know, I've never had an argument. Some of us, right? Me and all other brothers and sisters that I know, for the most part, have never had an argument like that, especially with someone of the opposite gender, where we're ready to fight them in a public place over something so stupid. How is it that there's a whole sector, I'll argue most of us, are able to move that way, and then you just have this whole other culture within the culture of people who behave like that? Something we gotta look at. It's deep. It's deep. It's much deeper than I can go into right here. But that right there is something, we have to get those type of people from up out our spaces, man. Like, because I see these are the same people, who start snapping and clicking and whatever when you state a simple fact online. That's who these people are.
Yep.
It's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking. I'll land my plane.
All right, Bobby, what's your take on it?
Jesus Christ. I got so much to say and nothing to say all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm gonna say that this was absolutely disgusting, and I feel like that's disrespectful because I don't know what words should be used, but I feel like disgusting is like barely even scraping like the top layer off, if even
Mm-hmm.
that. I feel like there's like like I got like I feel like I got like a little bit of frost on the blade. Meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole Titanic-sized iceberg just underneath. Using the word disgusting, but that's what I guess. That's what I'm gonna go with. Um, I do see a victim in all this. The brother who got shot, he's a victim as well. I refuse to rob him of his victimhood. He was being a surefire dumbass. He
Mm-hmm.
earned that. I'm not gonna take that. That's not slandering or speaking ill of the dead. It is what it is. You earn the flowers. You're gonna get the flowers. It is what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Um, Unfortunately, being a surefire dumbass in the large majority of cases, that should not be a crime punishable by death.
Agreed.
Because Lord knows if every single person who's ever been a dumbass in history were to go ahead and get the capital punishment,
Come on now. Come on
uh,
now.
we
I
wouldn't have to
wouldn't
worry
be
about
here.
climate change or overcrowding or anything else that we got going on.
Right.
So, being a dumbass should not be punishable by death, at least not the bulk of the time. So, he may have definitely earned getting the brakes beat off him. He didn't
Mm.
deserve to get bullets in his ass.
Agreed.
Um, but the unblemished for the most part victim that I see here is that young boy. Because first and foremost, we see what he has for a. I'm gonna say I don't want to call her a mother because I
Mm.
feel that's offensive,
Mm.
and I feel that that's a slap in the face and lemon juice in the eye of every woman that's given birth and has actually raised and cared for and loved on their child and been there. I feel
Yeah.
it's disrespectful to those people.
Mm-hmm.
I would call her a broodmare, but it doesn't look as though she's guilty of popping out multiple kids. So I don't think that would say. I'm just gonna say this person that popped him out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, First and foremost, just living for 14 years with a creature like that has. I'm sure that this probably was just the the tipping point, the climax. But I'm sure there were so many other dysfunctional moments that built up into this. If anything, the boy I'd say is a victim of Stockholm syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
God also knows what exactly it was that she texted him in the first place, because the video starts kind of as it is in most cases, because unless it's something that was set up, rarely are you going to get the full, complete context like that. So this started somewhere towards the middle and towards narrowing down towards the end of the situation. But clearly, this was an argument that started over something light and stupid. But when it popped up, you did hear. Now, mind you, he's yelling and tempers are already boiling over at this point. But for better or for worse, he did say to her, "Get your food and get up out of here. Get your food and get up out of here. You keep doing this, I'm a poppy." So again, it's not exactly, he's not going to win any awards or graduate top of his class in any sort of conflict resolution academy or anything.
Mm.
But he did make it abundantly clear that that whatever my fuel tank gauge is, whatever my capacity is for
Mm-hmm.
bullshit, we are
I'm
coming
there.
dangerously near the tippy top.
Mm-hmm.
The time for yip yapping and jaw jacking and twerking gums, that time is coming to a head. I'm done now.
Real talk.
Move off, or this is gonna go to a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, yes, temper's already for the most part out of control, but he did say that. I got to give him credit. He did say that. It
Okay.
was a poor occasion for it, but it was some level of
Just
diffusing the
chill.
situation or providing an off ramp to get off. And it's
Mm-hmm.
a lot more than what I heard her giving up. I didn't hear anything like that coming from her.
Mm.
So at some extent, I'm going to say, and I think it's fair to say, based on that, it sounded like this was a person who was egging. I don't know who was in the wrong originally, but this feels a whole lot like he got upset and she was trying to prove a point, and especially knowing that she has a son in the car, and knowing that she has a firearm, this definitely feels like she was pushing something, and she felt like no matter what happens, I got the trump card, I got the ace up my sleeve. And so when he's saying, "Hey, check yourself, move away from me, that nonsense,"
Mm-hmm.
she kept it going because she's like, "I wish you would." And I've seen this happen on a number of occasions
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where you have mannish broads that like to pick altercations with dudes or like to show
Mm-hmm.
that they got or their dick is just as bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So we both got a dick tonight. My dick is just as big now. What were they trying to emasculate dudes or really
Mm-hmm.
trying to flex in their face? And they know good and hell well they either got a weapon on them or they got somebody outside, or they know they got somebody on speed dial who's going to come and handle the nonsense. This happens all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When this happened, the first thing that jumped in my head was there was a story that there was another incident that happened, I think, several months ago, where I guess it was an argument at a bowling alley with a
Mm-hmm.
brother and a sister,
Mm-hmm.
and they got into it, and whatever was going on, she definitely like she was a whole lot more hyped than he was, and he must have said something that she didn't like. So her response was to take a bowling ball that she had in her hand, and out the blue, he didn't even see it coming. She whipped up the bowling ball and hit him dead in his head, and he felt and he knocked out, bleeding.
Jesus. Wow.
And what was disturbing is in the background, you heard people with,
Laughing.
I'll just say laughing. I'm not gonna say they were all laughing, but I'm definitely gonna say the reaction that was had was not the same one that would have occurred if it had been him hitting her with a bowling ball
Right.
or just with his fist.
Predictable.
I also remember
Predictable.
another video
Mm-hmm.
that happened about a year and some change ago up in New York, where it was who was it was in a dollar store of all places. One of the employees, uh, she was a sister as well. She was profiling the brother, talking nonsense like, "Oh, I don't want you in stealing," and he made it clear, "Hey, stop following me around the store. I'm not stealing nothing. Back him off. I'm just trying to get. I think he was trying to get some a card of some balloons and stuff for a graduation or something."
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time she's there in his face, pissing him off everywhere he goes. She's following. And she made it clear, "I'm gonna follow you because I think you're stealing. So I'm gonna watch what you're doing." He kept saying, "Move, move," and this video they shortened it, but this took place over some time, like at least 15, 20 minutes. It's been going on.
Mm.
So he finally didn't put his hands on her, but he turned around and got in her face. The heifer had the audacity to pull out some pepper spray in his eyes or whatever,
Mm.
maced him. He did nothing to her. She's the aggressor, but she
Mm-hmm.
maced him. And the whole time this happened, nobody's interfering, nobody's stopping her, no one's pulling her back, nothing.
Mm.
The brother been attacked. Still nobody does anything. Someone comes over, tries to talk to them, say, hey, y'all need to, we don't need to take this far.
Mm.
Meanwhile, the man's in pain and agony. After he been maced, he reached for her like he was trying to grab her or whatever, as he is well within his rights to do. And
Mm.
only then do you see people coming, hey, pull
Mm.
up, hey, hey, relax,
Mm.
relax, relax, relax.
Yeah. Those are the effects of coddling people that are in the wrong.
Where were y'all? Right. Where were y'all this whole time when she's clearly pressuring this dude, and he made it clear on a number of occasions he wasn't stealing anything. He had nothing on him. He didn't
Mm.
have anything that he shouldn't have had on his person. No
Right.
intervention.
Mm.
I've
Right.
spoken before as well about this mindset where society has us conditioned to perpetually see men as perpetrators, as victimizers, and women as victims. And
Mm.
so when we have situations like this, when clearly we have the opposite, there's a paralysis because what we're seeing is conflicting with what we've been trained to understand. We know that if a man holds a weapon,
Mm.
it's all hands on deck. But when
Mm.
it's a woman, we kind of look around like, what do we
Right.
do next? We be
Exactly.
clueless.
Exactly.
And I firmly believe, I've been saying this for quite some time, I'm convinced because this situation was an episode of proxy violence, where you basically have somebody acting on the behalf of somebody else in a violent manner.
Mm.
I'm convinced now all the numbers, if you look at the data, it's all going to say that men commit most of the violent crimes, the physical crimes, the assaults and batteries and such. Men lead the way in that.
Mm.
Women have been rising now. Women are the fastest growing group. Women have been trying to play catch up. But
Mm.
I'm convinced if proxy violence was factored in, and we
It'd
take
be
into
about
account the
even.
number of times I'd say it actually would supersede that.
Mm. Mm. You're
I would
probably
challenge it.
right.
I would say if that was the case, women would be shown to be the more physically violent group because already women have shown in a number of studies that women are competing now, if not surpassing men in interpartner violence.
Mm.
They don't talk about that.
No, of course not.
If you
Of
look at
course
the
not.
recent studies from at least as far back as 2018, I think the biggest one that was groundbreaking occurred in Canada. But if you look at least as far back as 2018, you will start seeing that there's a drastic shift in the number of times women have been the ones who have initiated the violence in a domestic battery situation.
Mm. Oh yeah. But now you're talking about accountability, and
And that's the problem.
well, we know that's a problem when it comes to women.
I'm sure this woman
Unfortunately.
was not going to do this. This would not have happened if she didn't have a son with a piece in the car. If it was just her out there by
Right.
herself getting some food,
Right.
I'm pretty sure she would have been real demure, real
Right.
tame, real soft spoken.
Mm.
Or as soon as she started threatening, she would have walked off somewhere
Right. But this fool instead sacrificed her son,
on the
sacrificed her
altar.
son's future over a $10 plate, bruh. That's
I'm
what
sure he's
happened.
going to get the lion's share because, I mean, unfortunately, this checks off all the boxes. He's a young black male teenager in Chicago. They're gonna be running that on the right wing circuit for
Oh,
months. They're gonna
you
wear that.
know.
They're gonna wear the treads out that mud.
This is like catnip to them. They're gonna have a field day with this. You know what I'm saying? And I
The
mean, we gotta stop giving
the
our
boy was
enemies so
protecting
much
his
ammo.
mother, who didn't deserve protection. He was protecting his mother.
Mm.
And when you look at what he did was foul, what he did was wrong. But in that situation, your mother, this is the person who's raised you, that you've known your whole life, says,
Mm.
I'm in danger. You come to the door, and sure enough, you see that she's going out with this dude, and this dude cocks back. You're not witness to anything that happened beforehand. You just see this
Mm.
dude going off on your mom. You see her look like she's just defending herself, and he pops in the face. I can understand in that moment operating with limited information, especially being young, where you don't have any life experience or what have you.
I can understand it.
I can understand the
I
pulling
can
piece out and
understand
then
it.
shooting him.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe he runs out. You think maybe he might be going to get something, and you put him down because then the brother did have enough conscience when his mom was right there saying, "Now shoot the girlfriend, shoot the girlfriend." He didn't do it, and then when she tried to go for it, he stopped her. So the brother wasn't completely off the rails.
Right.
Once he saw the threat that she described was neutralized,
Mm-hmm.
he stopped her from going overboard.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I would hope, because he has to be punished for what he did. That
Of course
plain
he
and
does.
simple.
Of course he
I
does.
would hope that he would be sentenced as a juvenile,
Mm.
do a little bit of time, and I wouldn't necessarily be opposed if he did serve 2 or 3 years as an adult afterwards.
Hmm.
Um, but
I
he's
get
gonna
it.
need some, even whenever he sees freedom again. Um, he's gonna need some intensive therapy.
Agreed.
You
Agreed.
know,
Very sad story.
regardless of the reason he had to do it, this young child took somebody's life.
Hmm.
And then when he finds out and when he gets the full context and in court everything about how much bullshit this was, worst case is he's gonna find out that he ended up taking his brother's life because his mother was full of shit.
Basically.
Um, that's gonna weigh on that brother's soul.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then
Even
just
if he
the
gets
thing.
out, that he's
Mhm.
gonna be in a different kind of prison for a long time because he's gonna
Right.
have to find a way to break the pain, the shackles of that I just took another man's life for no reason.
Right. And see, the thing is too, what irks me so much, keeping in mind, and keeping things in perspective. This is a 14-year-old child. There were
It's a damn baby.
so many other ways to have handled this. You could have shot him in the leg. Could have shot him in the arm. You could have shot him in the air. If you're going to shoot, I mean, I wouldn't recommend that you shoot at all. But you didn't have to kill him. But he don't know that necessarily. You know what I'm saying?
He's
Like,
scared.
he's scared. You feel me? And it just bothers me so much because she put him in that space. And he wasn't cognizant enough to not allow himself to be manipulated and put in that space. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's just so heartbreaking. And then after that, to show how craven and how much of a Neanderthal this woman is, she's like, "Oh, kill a girlfriend too," because she was laughing. Really?
Bloodthirsty. She
Yeah.
was happy she had this black male to go and do her dirty work for her. Yeah,
And I
that'll
see too
teach you.
much of this. I see too
Weaponizing
much of this.
black males.
Right. They're weaponizing black males, putting the battery in their back. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't shit.
Yeah, I think that part of it is, so here's my thing. I know you guys covered a lot of the basis of it, but I
Yeah.
did want to point out that the women in here in the situation, the girlfriend and the mother, they did a piss poor job of de-escalating, because I don't know if you guys seen a picture of many women, especially black women, putting their hand on a lion. Black women are known to calm the beast
True.
within an animal or within another human being.
Very true.
These women did not apply their strength in this situation to basically nullify the the intensity that was so built up in that room.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the women failed each other, failed their loved ones
Mm-hmm.
as well. And I hope that when people look at this, they can understand this and see this from a perspective that if they're in a situation, I'm not going to laugh at my man sitting here going back and forth with a woman. If anything, I'm gonna pull him to the side and I'm gonna get with her. But we shouldn't even have no conflict between black people in itself, because we have a common enemy, which is systematical racism and racists out here that hate us because of our skin color.
Agreed.
So you are a distant relative, brother,
Right.
friend that I see, and this is what I talk about, having the de-escalating the energy that we have for each other. Once we get on a level to de-escalate that energy within each other, then we can coexist without a lot of issues. But when I see you as somebody, as a competitor, or I see you as one of my arch enemy, it would never end in a good way. The next thing that I saw a problem with is a man who doesn't understand his powers of finessing women. We understand our powers in finessing women when it comes to having sex, because we can finesse some women out of their drawers with no problem. But we also have a finessing power and ability with women where we can de-escalate it by finessing. What I mean by finessing, I mean love bombing, finessing with love bombing. There's plenty of times that I had women that came to me with animosity. And I'm like, my bad, queen. It's all good. No disrespect. You looking real good. I don't even want to get you irated like that. Let's just squash it. Whatever the case may be. I'm love bombing. I'm love bombing. I'm finessing her. I'm de-escalating, all in the same issue and all in the same relevance. And every man has that power and have that ability with women. It's always that you win. You got this. We say that all the time when a brother pull a gun out on us. But that same attitude, that same resistance also works when you're in a heated argument. You'd be like, nah, bro, you got this. That's all you. My bad. Cool. And y'all hash it out and keep and moving. So I felt like the brother got amped up because his girl was, instigating through her laughter. So he wanted to, most men have an ego. They want to prove themselves. You want to prove yourself tough, regardless of what gender it is. Men, when they get hyped up and they have a cheering crowd behind them, it escalates all the way up. 9 times out of 10, you get two brothers that's in the room or two sisters that's in the room, no cameras, nobody around. They ain't finna fight.
Right. Real talk.
When you put two people and you got about 100 people around y'all, and the motherfucker chat, fuck that hoe up, man, fuck that. It's gonna kick off. It's gonna pop off.
That peer pressure, that social, that environment.
Exactly. So
it's
that's
real.
another thing that I felt like that had happened that didn't need to go down like that. Secondly, I think you guys hit it on the head where these Black women are operating like white women back in the early days of the KKK, white supremacy, when they were, because white women were the leaders and the instigators behind white supremacy, going all the way back to the slavery days. They wanted a slave killed, or they wanted a slave sold and moved to another plantation. It was the white women that were doing it. They were the instructors, the instigators, and they forced their husbands to do it, or it was going to be consequences, and their husbands did it. These two Black women were on that same level because they're using their men to fight their battles for you. The girl who's laughing, the girlfriend who's laughing, she could have diffused that or got in the way and got with the woman. So the woman on woman is at each other. She didn't do that. She wanted her man to go out there. So she laughed and instigated because she knows, your fuses that your man or your spouse have. You know what buttons to push to make your spouse kick off in the direction that you wanted them to do. So she used her laughing to instigate and push her man into a physical realm where he's now punching this woman. The girlfriend did that. On the other end, the mother did the same thing with her son. She's texting her son like, hey, there's an altercation here, da da da, come over here, da da da. Now you got your little warrior coming in to the gateway to monitor everything. And now you even amping up. Because one thing that they didn't tell nobody, she's a licensed carrier, concealed weapons carrier.
Mm.
So you know that you had a gun because you're a concealed carrier. You're able to carry a gun. You're licensed to carry a gun. You tell your son to go get the gun. You did not walk over to your son to grab the gun from your son.
Mm-hmm.
You knew your son was in the hallway and you just went to rapping even harder
Yep.
because now you know your son got the gun. So now you don't even have to get your hands dirty. You got your little warrior there that you know is going to take care of something if something pop off. It popped off and your warrior now shot this man in the back. You did not take the gun. You did not show any concerns or saying, damn, you know, why did you do that? Why, you know, I could have handled it. I could have took care of it. You didn't do that. You let your son go outside and you tell your son to follow him and pop him a couple more times in the back. Now you are basically using your son as a sock puppet.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got your sock puppet son who you have your hands in his back, not literally, but figuratively. You have your hands in his back and you have him operating the way you want him, the way you would have operated. So that way you don't feel like you would have got in trouble, but you did. So that was her way of using her son to do her dirty work. And remember, a lot of these women, if it's not having their son go out there and assassinate somebody, then they having their son pushing drugs to support the household.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these women,
call them out.
toxic women are like that. And she's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Cut clear case that she is a person that uses her son to do the dirty work. Now, I will say this. The son is a very stand-up dude. And I really wish he could get up out of this, to be honest. I don't want him to face any consequences out of this. I wish he could get exempt from this. Why I say that? Because he's an honor roll student. This kid been putting in work academically. So he was forced in a situation that he knew nothing of. But you remember the adrenaline of you seeing your mother being hurt will force anybody to pick up a gun and shoot, even if it's not in your character to do it.
Yeah.
So I feel real sorry for this boy because he should not have been in that situation. They should have been going home, going back to the house, eating the food and getting ready to, maybe he might be going over some schoolwork. Maybe he's out of school. Maybe he's relaxing and going to do some video games or occupying himself as a teenager should and not being in the role where he's taking up a role of where a man's supposed to be.
Right.
So I wish there was a loophole for him, but unfortunately it's not going to be one because she instructed him. If she did not instruct him to shoot him while he was outside, they both would have got up. He probably would have got charged for handling the gun as a 14-year-old, but it's more, you can fight that a little bit more when you say my son he saw danger, he didn't know what to do and was frantic and wanted to help his mother. There's a more clear case for that, and saying that it was out of reacted, right? He reacted at that moment. But when you go and you shooting, now it becomes premeditated because you shot him outside of the dangerous zone and you shot him extrally. So now that becomes premeditated. And that's where that both of them, the mother got charged for as well, is because now it went from being initially in danger to now just proving a point. They're not going to sit there and let, regardless of what system we got, they're not going to let that be shown as you can go out there and just do your thing. We always got to keep niggas in check. We ain't going to give them that much power to do that, regardless if this man punched this woman in the mouth or not. So when you look at the totality of everything in society, in that realm, we let each other down. Also, that people didn't notice, there were older men in there. Nobody intervened. None of these older men intervened. And this is another problem that we have in our society, because when I talk about nation building, when I talk about group economics, I never exclude the point of village mentality. And when you always have a village mentality, the village mentality is that everybody is operating as if one big family. When people go out here and they tell people, mind your business, stop talking about, you guys know when we be on these things and we calling out shit, people are like, oh, I wish people just mind their business and worry about themselves. Well, when you worry about yourselves, this is what happens.
That's what happens.
When you operate in a village mentality, this shit would never have popped off in the first place. Because everybody in that restaurant would have been all in that circle. It would have been look like we in a House of Pain video jumping around, because everybody would have been so neatly together trying to break the shit up or calm the shit down.
Right. Now, I will say this. People will say that they'll be reluctant to do that because, like, over the past few months or so, when someone has intervened, that someone has been harmed, that someone has been killed a number of times.
But that's, I can say that could be true on a one-on-one level. But when you have 20 motherfuckers intervening, that's a whole different story.
I agree.
The reaction is, I ain't got enough bullets to pop everybody. And the mentality is like, shit, everybody's saying, shit, we wrong.
Right. That's real. But
so,
the thing is, how do we get everybody on that page? You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm saying. If everybody who is committed to pushing our community in the next in the better direction, you have to have a village mentality. You have to have a village mentality.
Agreed.
Because you know what? The thing about it is, we have that, but we're selective. Because remember, when those police had those children kidnapped in that house up there, the whole fucking village, nigga, was at their door. Police or no, they ain't give a fuck if it was police involved in kidnapping them children. Everybody and their mama was out there ready to whoop some ass. So when it comes to pedophilia, we have that village mentality. Why is it that we only have that when it comes to that specific issue, when it should be applied to all issues?
I agree.
Like, that's the mentality that we need to have collectively at all times. And it's up to us to promote that and start showing that. So once you get enclaves of different groups that's out here doing stuff and we getting videos, those are the videos we need to share to show people. Just like we show people the videos of when the Nation of Islam went up there to them Chinese place when they was over there whooping our sister's ass. The whole Nation of Islam was up there. The whole brothers came out. They ain't fuck off. And they was daring them motherfuckers to do one more karate chop while we here. And them motherfuckers ain't do it. Guess what they did, though? They apologized.
You damn right. You damn right.
That's what I'm saying. So when we need to be collective, but we need to do that more often and not just isolated incidents, especially when it's involving people that don't look like us. I'm glad we are unified when it's people that don't look like us, but we need that same unity, because now, had we had that same unity and we looked at it from that angle, 3 people's lives wouldn't have been affected in a negative way.
Destroyed.
Everybody would have been home enjoying themselves and talking about the incident, but it wouldn't have never went to that level.
Real talk.
So I just want to.
No, I hear you, brother.
Wrap that up with that.
No, you spot on with it. Look, I intervened. I've intervened a number of times when I seen shit like that pop up.
I've intervened plenty of times. I saved a black woman up in. I was doing a delivery driving my truck up there, the delivery truck up there in West Palm, and it was a Haitian woman with a white woman, and the white woman went and got her gun up out the car and was ready to kill this Haitian woman with 3 children. And I got in between them. And I told the lady, I was sitting there with the lady, and I was like, yo, that shit ain't going down like this. The white woman looked at me, she looked at her, she got right in her car and went off. But if I wasn't there, see, the thing about it is masculinity doesn't need to show its abrasiveness.
Right.
Most of the times, masculinity is in your posture, it's in your tone, it's in the way you operate, it's in the way you move. By me moving in that way in front of them, protecting that woman, that white woman looked like, damn, this shit ain't gonna go down because he's willing to risk his life for a stranger. So I ain't finna do this. We ain't gonna do this right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now that masculinity point was the barrier that stopped that lady from doing what she did and also protected the black woman and her children at the same time.
Yeah.
But it took me initially to go out there and resolve it because it wasn't going to get resolved. And God knows how left that would have went with her having a gun in her hand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that you can't be fearful. One thing I tell women all the time, I said, let me tell you something. And I tell women every time I go out with them, right? I will die just to make sure you get back to your children. Because if I'm out with you, that means I care enough about you. But I know if you have children, I'm going to make sure that nothing happens to you and you get back home safe to your children. That's the type of masculine energy that I bring. That's the type of masculine energy a lot of guys have brought. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of energy that protects our women in our community.
Right.
When Nas talked about one of my favorite lines from Nas, the song he had off of Disease 2 with Lauryn Hill, and he says, my favorite part of the night is that when you call me and tell me you made it home safe. I felt that shit.
That's deep.
I felt that shit because I was the one that used to tell women that all the time, and I felt secure when they tell me I'm home.
Right.
Good.
That's your job.
Because I knew at the time that I picked you up, I was responsible for you, and the time that you got home, my cutoff time, that was my what you call my work hours. That was my work hours with you. Once you tell me you home, that's when my time cuts off. So that way I know when I got you and you got home, you were safe.
Right.
That's my job as a man to make sure that. So when Nas said that, that shit hit home. That resonated hard.
That's
my
real
favorite
shit.
part of the night was when you tell me you made it home safe. Yeah, that shit real.
That's real shit. That's manhood 101, bro.
That's
what we do
the
here.
cap on a good night.
That's what we do here. That's what's up.
Because the whole evening, there's no way it could be considered a good night, a good time with this person, unless you made sure this person was in place, safe and sound. God forbid, you had a wonderful time. Come to find out something happened. Now all that just spoiled the whole moment. This person's in a different state now.
Right. No doubt.
Absolutely.
All right, Ant.
All right. So, yeah, man, you guys made great points. We all made great points. Hopefully, we'll see what this situation leads to. I know the mother is locked up. They're both locked up, but the mother has a $3 million bond. So that's 10% of that. That makes it with $300,000 in order for her to get out.
She ain't going nowhere.
I don't see her coming out of that.
Nah.
So the next thing we wanted to do is, I wanted to show, shout out to Danny. So I want to get this in here. I know she told me she was going to jump on live with us, but she said that, Bobby, you're part of the organization too. So I do want to shed light on this. So the organization is NNAGA, right? So you could go to NNAGA dot, is it co or
It's NAGA. It's dot co
dot co?
NAAGA,
Okay,
the National African American Gun Association.
dot co.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you guys could go there, check it out, get the training, understand what you can and can't do. Because a lot of times we just grab the gun and don't understand that there is a gray and thin line that will keep you protected, and the other side of that line will also put you in danger. So it's very important that you guys go out there, go get the training, and every state has a bunch of black folks that's out here that's training each other. Find your local ones that do it. This is a wide organization. I think they're national. So you can go on the website, find out what's going on with them, and get the information and get the gun training. I know Danny does a great thing down here with women, girls with guns. Um, they down there in the South doing some great stuff down there. They have a lot of girls' night shooting. It's free to come in, but you guys have to have your bullets. So definitely link up, go on the website, and definitely follow her. I think she's unapologetically underscore me on Instagram, if I'm
Hmm.
not mistaken.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so unapologetically me
Right.
underscore. Is that? Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can find her real quick.
I'm pretty sure that's her. Let me, because I know I got her.
Okay, no, no, no. Okay, so here it is. It's underscore unapologetically me. So it's underscore one word unapologetically me. All
All right,
right.
it was that before.
And that's how you find Danny. Follow her, inbox her if you guys want to do the gun training, shoot with other women out there. I told her that it was super dope because it's when you dealing with women, women understand issues that other women go through. Maybe your boobs are big, your waist might be a little big or whatever. You want to find out what belt or gun holster will hold well in those areas. And a woman would tell you more than a man. Man's not running around here with a gun in his boobs or on his side or have issues like that. So,
Hopefully not.
get with him. Yeah,
Hopefully
This
so
not.
is just
Yeah.
2023, so hopefully not.
exactly.
Hey.
So definitely
Hey.
get with her and get the most information. I encourage everybody, especially women, to go get that gun training or get a gun and protect yourself. We have the law down here where the Sanchez allows you now to carry a gun without the weapons permit, but I advise you still go get the weapons permit. But in the meantime,
Yeah.
you can carry your gun because there's a lot of kidnapping going on. A lot of people are not making money like they used to. So now women and children are soft targets. Even elderlies are soft targets. So you have to keep your head on a swivel if you are in that demographic of people. So I advise that. That way you can protect yourself a lot better than you waiting on somebody to protect you. Had this woman had her gun on her and he would have punched her, she could have shot him and killed him, and her and her son would have went home and nothing would have happened to them. But because she left it in the car and allowed her son to get it, and her son now shot the man, now both of them are locked up. So that's why I said understand your laws, because there's a thin line that'll leave you justified and a thin line that'll leave you guilty. So that's what I wanted to put out there, and we can definitely chime in on the next segment, which is question of the day, right? So leading up to what we just talked about, the continuance of it is question of the day is what at what age, no, I should say, should our children get weapons training? If so, what age?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. 120,
Absolutely.
180%.
Uh-huh. Trillion.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Age, I would say, uh, I'd say definitely as they become teenagers. when they enter their teens. I believe, and there's a correlation, with other cultures where that is a transition from, being a child into adulthood. And,
Yeah.
like in Africa, in many tribes, that's where you would begin your manhood training when you're 13. Uh, in Judaism, that's where you get circumcised, whatever the case may be, and they have like I forget what it is they call it. Is it a bris? Is that it? I don't want to
The
mess that up. But
you mean
there's
the
a
mitzvah?
transition, huh?
You mean the mitzvah?
Mitzvah, yeah, okay. The bris
The
is
the bar
earlier, right?
the bar mitzvah, I
The
think.
bar
Yeah, the
mitzvah,
bar
right,
mitzvah and bat
right.
mitzvah for the girls.
Correct. So there's a correlation with other cultures where you're kind of transitioning from childhood into early adulthood. And so I think that would probably be the point at which I would say, and I'm not saying that a child should own a gun, but I think that's a good time to start getting familiar with and training with the gun. I would say younger than that. My grandmother, my great grandmother, she knew how to handle a shotgun when she was 8 or 9 years old. But times have changed. You know what I mean? And, the way that society is set up now, um, where, kids are going to school with guns and getting caught, at the mall with guns or whatever the case may be. You got the whole specter of social media lurking in the background. You got to worry about a kid doing some stupid shit on social media with a gun. So, you know, things are just too accessible now. I think to run the risk of giving a child such training so early,
Mhm.
but I also think with respect to that, that's just my thought off the top of my head. But with respect to that, I would also say let's keep the state laws in mind because, as black parents, what you don't want to do is get caught, I'm sorry, with your kids out and about at a gun range, using firearms, and it's illegal for minors to handle firearms in that state or something like. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the one caveat that I think we have to look at and be very mindful and careful of. But other than that, at least as we're making the transition into our teens, I think will be a good point.
Mm.
What say you, Bobby Drake?
So I'm all the way in with our children being gamed up on firearms and firearm usage. I definitely believe that is something that is a necessity for them. It's good to get that training early. Um, as in most cases, the earlier you're able to get the training, the better. As for how early, I would say it depends on a couple things. First and foremost, as a parent, I would trust, but again, we understand as a couples, as just the last segment proved, everyone isn't the same. Um, know your children first and foremost. No, you know your children, you know what they're capable of, and I'm sure there's probably other things, other levels of responsibility that you've assigned to them before you've considered firearms training. So hopefully they've shown themselves at least somewhat competent and responsible in those smaller things, and so you can escalate them to this. But truth be told, all things being equal and the child being capable, I would say it really depends on how early you're comfortable with having them get a win with firearms. Um, you know, from the time kids are 3 years old, they got the little toy water guns, they got the little cap guns, what have you. I think even then, you can start getting your children conditioned or comfortable with firearms. Of course, you're not going to go ahead and give them your Glock and let them, you know, lick off shots for Fourth of July or for Juneteenth or New Year's or anything like that. But even with those small toy guns, you can begin getting your child accustomed to firearm usage, how to properly hold. No, no, you don't wave this around. Just basic firearm safety measures you can teach them. Don't just point at anything. I think one of the best things you can do is when they're young and they have those guns because they're watching TV shows and cartoons, so they're seeing firearms, whether they're toys or props like in a Looney Tunes cartoon or something. So you can teach them certain things. Those are opportunities for teachable moments. Okay, so you see how Bugs Bunny held that firearm? We don't do that. Or if they have a little squirt gun or a little Nerf gun, whatever, you can teach them, hey, don't point like that. Make sure you're not aiming at anyone. Just getting them conditioned with those basic steps that will etch themselves into their brain and they'll carry with them the rest of their lives. As they get older, of course, you can naturally graduate them to different levels. So you can get them things like they might be too young for a dart gun, for example, like the traditional Nerf guns. When they get 6 or 7 years old, you can go ahead and graduate them to those. 8, 9 years old. In some cases, BB guns, or you can even start getting them accustomed to the real thing. Again, if you have a child who's responsible, you do have firearms instructors who do have experience in training children or teaching them the basics. So, as Ant mentioned, I'm not only a NAGA member, I'm also a member of one of our local clubs, the Black Arms Gun Association. And we have had a number of our range days. Some of our members will come and they'll bring their children. I believe we had kids as young as I believe I seen a 8 or 9 year old, and they were being trained how to use a firearm. So they had a firearm that was a little heavier, so it wasn't too heavy for them to manage, but it was heavy enough so that the recoil was in effect. They were being shown how to manage the recoil, and the instructor, I can't remember who it was, but they did a great job. There's no incidents, and I believe it was the child's first time doing it. So when the gun went off, they kind of made sure to hold the weapon to kind of help them manage the recoil. And so once it went off, of course, the child was like, "Whoa!" The whole kitty
Mm.
reaction.
Yeah.
But as the child got accustomed to it, so they kind of guided them through it. So they weren't in control the whole time, but they showed them what to expect, and so they would just condition them for what to reasonably anticipate. And I've also been on a range with you have some people that have kids that are 11 and 12 years old, and they have their own little rifles and they're managing it efficiently. They're clearing the chambers. They have all the safety rules.
Mm.
Um, but again, like I said, it's dependent on the child you have. So you know who you have. Also, again, if you've been working with them and conditioning them to get used to firearms from early, it's not going to be as big of a deal. I don't think that you have as much to worry about as far as children getting hands on guns and using them in school and recklessly like that. Those cases, um, typically because you do have an being acclimatized to using the firearms. Most cases, I would say, with misuse of most things, period, is when there's a lack of knowledge of what to do and a lack of familiarity. So a lot of times you will have children, especially when they go for these guns because they're having issues in schools, they're operating based on the knowledge that they have, whether it's incorrect or whether it's correct. So based on their frame of reference, they've understood so it's through music, through TV, through movies, cartoons, through various forms of media, even conversations being held in the home.
Mm.
That's another thing, parents.
Or not.
Our children
Mm.
are sponges or not.
Mm.
Um, our children are constantly learning about the world around them based on the various input sources, which includes family members, friends, and the different media that they take in. So if all these kids know and all they see is that guns are used to solve problems, then you can't expect them to not think it's perfectly sound to go ahead and get a gun to solve a problem, even if they know it's trouble.
Yeah.
Because in that case, they have a decision to make. Well, I'm having this issue. I don't want to get in trouble, but I also need this problem to go away. I will make a judgment call and I will suffer for what in their minds is a short term trouble for a long term positive result. And then, of course, it doesn't turn out that way, but they're operating based on what they have.
Mm.
I found that our children are very intelligent, very wise, and are a lot more capable than what we give them credit for when we're doing our job as parents. I believe wholeheartedly if you front load your children with the right knowledge, put the sense of responsibility on them, really impress upon them the seriousness of firearms and how, yes, they can be fun. It's great for hunting. It's great for recreational shooting. It's great for competition shooting. That's wonderful. But these are also dangerous weapons that can harm and take life as well. And to be cognizant of that, I firmly believe, if anything, it's going to encourage our children to not go to firearms as a first line of dealing with the problem, or even down the line. A number of people I talked to, I remember speaking to our club president like years ago after I first joined up. We were talking about carrying and everything, and he had said that he used to be a tow truck driver, and he said he dealt with all kind of crazies, and he used to carry on his job. And he said once he started carrying on the job, he found himself being a lot more patient and even tempered with people, even when people were getting crazy with him, because he understood, I gotta fall back because if necessary, I could take your life. He understood that he had the confidence that came with it, but he also had the responsibility because he understood just how deep it was to get an altercation. So when you have that thing on you, you know,
Different.
it's a different level of responsibility, because it's one thing if two people jaw jacking and you can get in a fight, whatever, you throw some hands, someone walks away with a black eye or some bruised ribs, and you call it a day. But if you're carrying on you and you get in a fight, that's not just a fight anymore. Because as soon as it's abundantly clear, and if you lock it up with someone, they're gonna feel whatever. As soon as the other person knows that you're carrying, the danger level just got escalated.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot of people who carry and who are responsible gun owners. They'll say, man, when I'm carrying on me, man, there's certain places I simply won't go to
Yep.
because I know
Yep.
how they get down over here, and I know something's gonna pop off, and I might have to pull something.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they do go to certain places they know are rough, they're going there because they know that they have something to defend themselves. But they're not looking for a problem. They know as soon as something gets hairy, it's time to get up out of here.
Like that woman
Because
should have
I'm
did
not
at that
gonna
restaurant.
correct. Because even if you do have to use that thing and you're perfectly in the right, there's other things that come with that. You just discharge your firearm.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to give a statement. There's
Yeah.
gonna be court.
Oh yeah.
In some cases, even though if you're 100% wrong, even if there's a criminal case and you beat the case, you do have to worry about a civil suit from this dumbass.
Right.
And there have been cases where you've had criminals who are 100% in the act. They've gone ahead and pushed a civil suit against the person who defend themselves, and they won the civil suit.
Hmm.
Now
Wow.
you got to pay this jackass, and they're dead to rights. But
Crazy.
the burden of proof in a civil case isn't the same as in a criminal case. It's much
Mm.
lighter.
Right.
Some cases you might have to worry about, oh, I capped this idiot or whatever. You have to worry about their family or somebody else coming trying to get back. So
Of
there's a lot of
course.
things to keep in mind
Of
with that.
course.
It's a huge responsibility, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's so important for people to get the permits, because to get your permit, the first requirement is you have to take a firearm safety course. So you have to get information that you're not going to have as a person that just goes to the store and buys a firearm. So just hearing some of these stories, and usually these instructors, they usually give some anecdotes and tell some other stuff. They show videos, whatever, to go along with information. Usually you walk out knowing a whole lot more and understanding it's bigger than just I got this thing and I can shoot somebody and survive. You find out that it runs a lot deeper, and I think our kids are no exception. When you give them knowledge, when you give them understanding, it'll pay dividends. So I
Mm-hmm.
say the sooner you start opposing your children to firearms and training, the better. Do it. If you have someone who's interested, take it. They might like it. If nothing else, it's a great way to bond over the weekend. Spend some time out of the range. It's a great father son or mother son, father daughter, mother daughter activity. It's for everybody. So go test it out. Worst case scenario, if they don't like it, it's not for them. At least they tried something. They got exposed to something, and it's a great experience that they can carry with them.
Mm. Noted.
Definitely. Great information. Like I said, protect yourself in the long run. It's definitely going to work out better for you and your family. And it also is going to keep you away from harm's way when you understand the rules of engagement and the rules of the laws. So these fellas just eloquently put it together for you guys, so that way you could take care of yourself and your family in the future. All right. So um, the hell not hell yes segment. We want to postpone that till next week.
That's fine. That's
All
fine.
right.
Let's table
We
it.
yeah, we in the red today, yeah, so we'll postpone
Yeah.
until next week.
Too much game.
So we We could definitely postpone it to next week.
No doubt.
So I definitely want to get into our queen check for tonight. Now here's the thing with the queen check, right? It's a little different tonight. Our queen check was not on our list. This is
Okay.
somebody that I just found out about, and she's not a queen. She's a princess,
Okay.
right? So we
Plot
want to do
twist.
our princess check for tonight. All right,
All
we're
right.
making an exception tonight.
Bet.
All right, so our princess check for tonight is the lovely, talented 9-year-old who is named Rebecca Sesba.
Okay.
Oh, look
She
at that
is
face.
from He is from Cape Town, South Africa.
All right.
She is her father. This is her father,
Mm-hmm.
Emmanuel, and she has a brother. This is her brother, 15 years old. They all self-taught how to play piano,
Mm.
watching YouTube videos.
Nah.
So
Wow. Wow.
here's her other brother as well.
Uh-huh.
And they're all phenomenal. But
Looking
Beautiful
royal.
family.
she
Gorgeous
takes
family.
yes, she takes the cake. And you guys can follow her on her Instagram page. Um, what's that say? Be pianist.
I think
Oh,
it's
geez.
Becca Pianist. Let me find out.
Yeah, Becca. Okay, because her name is Rebecca. So that's what it is. Yes, it is
Let me
correct.
confirm that for you real quick.
Bet.
Becca. I didn't know it was gonna come out that blurry, but yes, she is phenomenal. She is phenomenal, and I could not play her video because her. Let me see if I can. Let's see real quick if I could play her video for you guys. Um, she is, when I say so phenomenal, she's so phenomenal.
Yeah, that's it.
But
It's BECA because they have another Becca there, but hers is only one C. BECA PIANIST. Becca Pianist.
okay,
Got
there
it.
it is. Becca Pian. Okay. So y'all give her a follow. She only has 1800 followers right quick. Definitely check her videos out. I can't play, I cannot play her video, but she has a video, and this is how I ran across her. She has a video that went viral, and she's in the mall playing the piano. And when I say she is
Like that.
going in,
Nasty.
going in.
Okay.
And guess what song she was playing?
What song is that?
The theme song for Titanic, which is a classical hit,
Word?
which is it's a very difficult
Oh
Okay.
no,
thing.
that's a tearjerker joint right there.
I
Oh
can't
Yeah,
wait to
yeah.
hear it, man. I love to see
yes.
stuff like that. I
So
love it.
I didn't want to play it because I would have got copy striked for it. But I did want to show people this because the reason why I highlighted her, people don't understand that Black people have created music on all genres throughout the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Classical music, pianists, a lot of the great composers have been whitewashed.
Mm-hmm.
One of the great classical pianists that have been whitewashed was Mozart.
Mm-hmm.
Mozart was a Moorish man.
Mm.
Uh, he's a black man. We all know and heard about Mozart as the one of the elite composers when it comes to that, but we never got to realize that this was a black man till later on down in our lives. So
Mm.
as you see here, he's depicted as black, but in the original Mozart pictures, he's depicted as white. We also see that happen with the picture of Jesus. We have Caesar Borgia, who was the son of Alexander the Eighth, depicted as Jesus when that's not the real depiction of Jesus. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of our history and greatness has been whitewashed over the period of time, and nobody has sat back and corrected it. So now that's what makes this platform and other platforms so powerful, because we can now bring you guys information that a lot of mainstream media is afraid to tell you.
Mm.
Another composer that is biracially mixed but has black genes is
Dude,
Beethoven.
I knew
Ludwig.
Beethoven was black. I didn't know Mozart.
Yes.
Wow.
So Beethoven, right? Beethoven is mixed. He's black and white.
Mm.
Um, so this is what Beethoven would look like when they did the digital analyzation of what Beethoven would look like. The other depiction of Beethoven is a white man.
Of
So like
course.
I said, we get like a lot of our great, um, talented individuals and leaders and ancestors that have been whitewashed and not given the correct credit for it. And the reason why I brought that up is because, this young girl here is now following in that same light of greatness with our elders and our leaders and pioneers, which I thought was super dope, super super dope. So being that this girl is only 9 years old and her brothers are also just as elite, the whole family is just on some brilliant level. And I thought, as her being the youngest and her just mesmerizing the crowd and having everybody just wondering who she is. I
Mm.
mean, when I tell you that people were literally putting money on her, like they were putting it kind of under her leg so that it wouldn't fall. She's literally getting a bunch of money put under her
Mm.
leg while she's playing in the
That's
mic.
crazy. That's crazy.
You guys,
I
when
love
y'all
it.
see the
Wow.
when y'all see the video, you guys are gonna go crazy over what y'all see. But
Mm.
when I tell you that she is phenomenal,
Mm.
she is phenomenal. Now, before we get out of here, let me see if I can uh, bring this video up. I think it downloaded in time. Let's see. Okay, here she go. All right, so I cut the music so you guys don't get copy strike. But look at her hand movements.
Boy, she with it. Fingers
She not even playing.
flying.
You're getting busy.
Getting straight
Showing one of
busy.
those kawaii pianos. I know it sounds beautiful on those.
Exactly. So I was like,
Look at the
man,
precision. Yo, yo. I can't wait to watch that.
yes, you guys gotta watch it. She's phenomenal.
That's what's
Um,
up.
so
I
so
love to see that, man.
shout out to our little princess Rebecca for doing
Blessings.
such a
Big
phenomenal
ups to her.
job, man.
Blessings on that
And
family, man.
just
Hmm.
that's the black girl magic, right? So yes,
No doubt.
another wonderful week, another wonderful episode. I hope you guys love the content that we brought to you. Super proud of my fellas that's out here bringing this platform to you guys. And just follow us, tell people, like, share, follow, and share this platform with anybody you feel like it's value that holds value to or will see value in it. Don't be afraid. We welcome anybody. You feel free, you want to jump in and talk to us and chop it up with us, you can do that as well. So that is what we're doing. See you guys next week. Fellas, y'all want to say a little something before we go out real quick?
Real quick, man. Guys, your health, your nutrition, your exercise is life or death, man. Literally. Stay on top of it. Do it like you mean it. Be serious. Be deliberate. Be consistent because it's either going to affect you and cause you not to have your life, or it's going to severely affect your quality of life.
Mm.
That's the long and short of it. We can't be out here playing with this. We really, really have to take it seriously and you know, put everything that we have into it. I want to see a strong black nation out here. I don't want to hear about us leading statistically in every single solitary negative category that has to do with health anymore. That's got to stop. If we're going to rebuild ourselves and rebuild ourselves as a better version of ourselves, we're going to need to be our best selves in every capacity. And that starts with being healthy and having a clear head.
Yes.
Simple as that. I'll land my
Well,
plane there. It's really not much to say. We've gone over it, but that's the gist of it. And, to speak to the other um, topic that we really discussed on here today, with regards to, those three people and their lives being impacted so negatively, one of them having lost their life. We really need to start to see the God in one another when we deal with each other. We need to start dealing with each other as brothers and sisters. At the end of the day, you don't treat your brother like that, you don't treat your sister like that. And
exactly.
that's just what it is. It's as simple as that. You don't treat your brother like that, you don't treat your sister like that. When we start loving one another and looking at each other in a loving capacity, we won't behave like that. We won't be able to commit such atrocities against one another.
Exactly.
It's extraordinarily sad. I pray for all of the families. And, I hope that we don't hear about anything like this happening um, anytime soon. I know that's a pipe dream, but, I hope we don't hear about anything else like this happening for a very long time. We
Exactly.
really, really need to do better with that as a community.
Definitely.
I land my
All
plane.
right. All right, Bobby.
Absolutely. You know, again, as I said before, health is everything. It's not a portion of your life. It is your life. If you think about all the things that we actually do, the efforts that we take to create a better life for ourselves, we go to school, we pursue education, higher education in some cases. We try to get pay raises, we try to get promotions at work. We try to make more money. We try to live in better neighborhoods, drive better cars, wear better clothes. We try to travel and see the world. We try to do all kinds of things to improve our quality of life, to have a life worth living. Um, if you're not investing in your health first and foremost, if you're not investing in your eating properly, if you're not committing to eating well, eating the right things, leaving the wrong things out, if you're not committing to getting good rest, limiting your stress, if you're not committing to exercising and staying in shape, um, all the other stuff you're doing really doesn't amount to much. It would
Mm.
be like buying something for full price when instead you could be getting it for much cheaper. You're essentially pissing in the wind, or you could look at the other way. You're buying something, but you're only getting it for a fraction of the amount. So you're basically spending what you should be getting for 100 items, but you're really getting maybe 85, 70. You're shortchanging yourself because ultimately other people are going to feel it as well too down the line, but you're going to be the first person that feels the lack thereof, but you're also going to be the first person to reap all the benefits.
Mm.
Um, if you're not investing in your wellness, nothing else really matters. You have people who are lying on their deathbeds. They're sick. They got all kinds of diseases eating them out from the inside. Um, their health is in bad shape. We spoke about mental health the other day. People who earn billions in dollars or millions of dollars committing suicide, or they're managing all kind of addictions to because they don't have coping skills. They can't get themselves out of a certain condition. Or some people who are just living reckless because they feel that they don't have anything to live for because they've been diagnosed with something terminal or something they can't recover from. Um, if your health isn't in on track, you're just wasting your own time. Uh, life is precious. Life is valuable. Make the most of it. You can have a better quality of life, no matter how good your life is or that you think it is. If you're not optimizing your health, there's another level out there, man. Do that for you. Do that for your family, for your loved ones. Do that for the people who care about you. And to be honest, we're in a health crisis in this moment.
Mhm.
I typically advocate for people making changes from the inside out. You don't do it for other people. You do it for yourself. You find internal reasons. You don't let the external dictate the internal. But where we currently are, to hell with that. At this point, even superficial reasons to get in shape and get healthy
No
are
doubt.
worth it. You want to attract a better quality in women, or if you're a woman, you want to attract better quality men.
Get in shape.
Get in shape. Do it to look
Period.
good. You know that your fit self is going to be far more attractive than your fat self. So burn off the fat. Get to it.
Come on now.
Um, ladies, if you got that dress that you got way back when that you love so much, but you can't fit it no more, get that fat off your system so you can wear the dress. Dudes, you're having difficulty finding clothes. Everything is balloon size. It looks like you're wearing a curtain or a muumuu. Nothing fits the way you want to. You want to be able to wear the clothes. Hey, real talk. You want to be able to fit certain clothes that look better. Get the fat out your system.
Hmm.
Hell, set a goal for yourself.
That's it.
Maybe you
Set
want to
a
run a
goal.
marathon. Maybe you want to do one of these Spartan races or Tough Mudders or whatever. Commit to train to get in shape for that. Maybe it can event.
Mhm.
Whatever reason you can find, I don't give a damn. It could be something stupid. It could be something over the top. But
Yeah.
find a reason to get in shape and get healthy and stick with it. You do not have to be perfect to start, but you have to start to become perfect. One exercise, if you do one push up, and I'm not being funny either, I'm dead ass serious. Sunday night, you do one push up tomorrow in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and that's it for the week. If you haven't been active, you have already done more than you did last week.
Hmm.
Do one push up, do two push ups, 4, 8, 20. If you can't do them full up, get on your knees and do the girl push-ups, whatever. If you can barely do that, get yourself in push position and gradually ease yourself down till you touch whatever it is. There is
Yep.
an entry level you can start at. Start
Right.
there. Just start. Ask questions. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Google is your friend. You got these expensive ass smartphones that cost damn near a mortgage. Use them.
Real
Go to
deal.
Chat GPT. What's a good workout plan I can take up? What's a good diet to get on? Go to your gym. They have trainers there. Talk to them.
Hmm.
There are resources all around you, but it starts in here. You have to have the will.
Yeah.
Without the will, can't do nothing. So you have to want it, then you have to act on it. Then you begin, and then you stay consistent. You build the habit. You
Mm.
do it day in, day out, rain, snow, sleet, whatever. Stay consistent. And eventually you'll get to a point where you're an autopilot. You don't have to think about it. You're just doing it automatically. But it starts with one. That's all. One.
Real talk. What he
All right.
said one more time. Hey, let me just reiterate. Let me just reiterate this before we go. And I know you're gonna take us
Foolish.
out of here. But he hit on something key. I want to make sure I get this out there, and I'm gonna say it again. Stop making excuses. And what did he say? What did he say? Make a plan. Write the shit down if you have to. Make a plan to do something small. Maybe it's losing 5 pounds by the end of the month. Measure your progress. Okay? You
You
lose
know what?
5. Hmm.
Take it to the next level because we're talking about village and community, right?
Yeah.
So get the community involved.
Yeah.
Put yourself on blast. Let
Hmm.
other people know what your goal is. Let them know. Get you
Yeah.
some accountability buddies. Hey, you see me slacking? Do so.
Hmm.
There's this funny video. I don't know what the original channel is, but there's these funny little viral videos that pop up every now where they have this really super fit buff ass dude who be walking around the supermarket, and they got
Hmm.
some fat dude. He either got some fast food, or he's getting some junk food, whatever. And And every time you're about to bite, you're about to take a bite of the burger, the dude walks up and slaps it out of his hand.
Yeah,
Like,
I
put that
saw.
shit down. It's funny as hell. But real talk, get that community
Yeah,
behind you. When I started jujitsu, I made it a point, not that I didn't think I was going to stick with it, but to further motivate and push myself, I make it a point where every so often I drop something that I'm learning on my journey, some obstacle that I got up. I let people know when I'm
yeah.
competing, when I'm about to compete, what I've done, not just for likes or for all that's nonsense. But I
Mhm.
like seeing people do that, and I've gotten people respond to me saying, "I love seeing your journey. I like seeing your growth. It's amazing. It's inspirational to me."
That's
Do
what's
that,
up,
and you'll be surprised. You might actually inspire other people to go ahead and get serious. They see you on
which
your
is
grind.
great.
Now you're spreading it.
Which is
Spread that.
great.
Let's have health go viral. How about that?
That that would be
Let
wonderful.
your best self. Let's make that go viral.
Agreed. Agreed. But just to the larger point, let's say that there's some people who don't want to do that because some people are shy. But I agree with that, right? But at the very minimum, yo, make a plan and follow through with it. If your goal is to lose 5 pounds by the end of this month, if you do it by yourself or with the community, which is also a great idea, if your plan is to lose 5 pounds by the end of this month, you need to think about this in terms in a larger sense. If you can do that every month by the to the end of this year, you lost 30 pounds. This is how you have to think.
That's
In
huge.
particular, when you're too far gone or you feel like you're too far gone. You have to do this shit in increments. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what's going to get you something called progress. Folks, it's serious. Do it. It works. And I'll land my plane.
All right, so here's in better preference of what he was just saying. Trying to improve
Yes.
1% every day is better than trying to improve 100% in one day.
There you go.
If you improve 1% a day, then in 100 days, guess what? You're 100% better.
Brother, brother, you dig? Trying to tell people this is like pulling teeth because people have no discipline or commitment. You dig? But it's really that simple. I've done it.
Hmm.
Come
All
on,
right.
y'all.
Very
Definitely,
doable.
man. We
Let's
appreciate
improve.
everybody. We appreciate everybody for tuning in and staying with us this late. We're gonna let you guys go, but guess what? We're gonna be again back here next week with another
Blessings.
dope episode, and we're definitely getting the hell yeah, hell no next week.
Yay.
This list
Hell
was
yeah.
very good, and I ain't want to just speed through it. So
Yeah.
y'all gonna get this next week. All right.
Bet.
So
Yeah.
appreciate everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Love and
Peace.
light. Yo.
Show.
Be well.
On the album, we do things like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.